Trey Styles on the beat.
What's up? I just realized the whole freaking time I did not take off the Bills versus Jaguars. I'm like, wait, why is it saying that? OMG, you guys. That's my bad. I had that
I'm
on the
pretty
whole
sure that
time
was
on the pause.
intentional.
Oh man, you know how I feel about Joshua Tyrell, you guys. So that's just I'm taking it as a positive sign. You know what I mean? Because I'm like,
Right.
how that even happen? I sure was not paying attention. What is up, you guys? Cheers to another fantastic week of NFL football. Wild card weekend was it was kind of wild, except for the last two games. The last two games were wild, but they were games. How
Yeah,
you
yeah,
feel?
they were games. They was great games. They told a great story. The story they told was great. So it doesn't have to be a close game to tell a great story. It just
Mhm.
has to be a game where, like, for example, the game we just watched.
Oh
We're
my.
talking about the Houston
We'll get
Texans
there in a
having
second.
right. But it's a story that's told based on history. When you go back
Hmm.
to the '99 Buccaneers, or you go to
Hmm.
the 2002 Baltimore Ravens, and what those teams were able to do on defense, it's told a compelling story. I like the story that is being told so far.
Hmm. All right, so since you brought it up, we might just go ahead and get right into it, y'all. We're not gonna waste no time here, no time whatsoever, you guys. Whew. I'm glad that one was over, y'all. Cause I was like, maybe it'll pick up. We'll see what happens, and then it kind of picked up, at least for the Texans anyway. And they're that game went. So, uh, what do you think? So I'm gonna start with the Steelers side of it, right? Because as you all know, if you were here last week, I said pick the Steelers to win this game. Aaron Rodgers on his final, NFL retirement tour. I'm gonna give Aaron Rodgers at least another playoff victory, right? Mike Tomlin to get his first one with Aaron Rodgers in God knows how long. And man, for a while, like it was possible. 7-6, pretty much the entire game, and then that score just ran up in the fourth quarter. Oh, what's up, DJ? How you doing? Salute, Kaja Nadi. I only got one game wrong. DJ, I got two games wrong, man. I got two wrong. Two wrong out of my
Shout out to
picks. But
DJ. What's happening, DJ?
uh, but yeah, so um, I think we may have seen the last Aaron Rodgers, honestly speaking. He looked like he was just over it in this game. And I mean very, very early on. Now I know he got knocked around and he was getting knocked down pretty hard. Like he couldn't even like blink before they would just knock him on his ass. So I understood the frustration. But it was obvious early on that he like I don't feel like his something in him I think was like, this is it for me. At least that's the way it looked to me. Now I could be wrong, and he might run it back in a few months or whatever have you. But the way it looked out there very early on that first quarter, I was like, I think this is going to be his last hurrah. What do you think about the Aaron Rodgers side of things?
I think he had a great run. I mean, I wouldn't be bad if he decided to hang it up. If he
Hmm.
doesn't hang it up, I think there are two places where he could go that he could extend his career.
Oh,
But
leave? You saying leave Pittsburgh?
he don't sign the 1 year deal. You can't go back to Pittsburgh. They got Will Howard. Will Howard is the future. They got to develop the young quarterback that they have. I mean, you can't let the young quarterback sit behind a guy who's 40 plus years old. So it's time to move on. He had a great run. We'll see what Pittsburgh do if they decide to bring him back for another year,
Hmm.
or if they want to move forward to the future. But I just don't see a scenario where Aaron Rodgers is back in Pittsburgh.
Would you like to see him back, or you like? I've seen enough. Move on to the rookie.
It's time to move on to the future. I need to see if Will Howard can play,
Hmm.
because next year's quarterback draft is going to have a lot of good quarterbacks coming out. So we need to see if Will Howard is the future,
Mm-hmm.
or if they need to go into the next year's draft when Archie Manning and all those guys come out.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to, if they need to take another quarterback in the first round?
I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So if Aaron Rodgers leaves Pittsburgh, we said two teams that are gonna be good for him. What two teams?
I think two teams that'll be good for him would be Minnesota or Atlanta. I
Minnesota, but JJ's there.
I know JJ's there, but JJ is often injured, and it
Well, I
and
had told you that a few weeks ago, and you said, but
yeah,
he got
but
he's the
see,
top 10 QB. He's a rookie. You
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
that.
he's a rookie, but this is the thing. Tom Brady was able to have success at an
Mm-hmm.
older age because he went to a team that was ready made. He went to a team that he didn't have to elevate. He had the players on that team to elevate him.
Mm-hmm.
When he left New England, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't have to recruit Tom Brady. He called down to them. He told them, "I'm coming because I see you got
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans. I see you got Chris Godwin. I'm gonna bring AB with me. I'm gonna bring Grunt with me. The offensive line was already stout, and the defense was ready to go win the championship." Only thing he had to not do is what Jameis Winston had did the year before, which was 30 plus interceptions and
Mm-hmm.
have 5 plus fumbles that got took the other way. As long as he didn't
Mm-hmm.
turn the ball over 35 plus times, they were gonna win the Super Bowl. And
Mm-hmm.
so Aaron Rodgers needs to go to a place where it's ready made, where the talent is already there. And two places where the talent is already there is Minnesota and
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. Minnesota and Atlanta are both a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl. And the quarterback that goes to either of those teams have the players that can elevate them. They don't have to elevate those players.
In terms of Minnesota, I know that was one of the places they were talking about this past off season before he signed with Pittsburgh. At this point, they were interested. I don't know what was
Right.
going on behind closed doors. They were like, I think we saw enough in New York with the Jets. We just going ahead and go with the young
Yeah.
man and JJ McCarthy. And I like JJ. I think he's a lot of promise. But man, I'm telling you, like he comes, he plays a great game, or he plays most of a good game, then he gets hurt, then he's out. Then he comes back, then he's like inconsistent. The next game, he's like, man, this young rookie can do it. And then he gets hurt again and he's out. He's so up and down, which is one of the reasons I think I said to you a few weeks ago. I was like, should they be getting the quarterback? So Aaron Rodgers, I think last season would have made more sense. I really expect now, because they've seen what he can do in good
Right.
moments, that is, that they probably won't go that route. Now, I could be wrong, obviously, but I thought it made a lot more sense last year because you got rid of Sammy Ethan, y'all. That's Sam Darnold. I call him Sammy Ethan, if y'all don't know. So you got rid of Sam. He went on to Seattle, and then you said we're gonna run it with our young QB and see what we got in him. I thought it was. Oh, they should have had another QB there, more a veteran QB, in case it didn't look the way they
Right.
wanted it to. Especially when you have, like you said, a roster that's ready to contend right now. Like, you have all the pieces that you need on both offense and defense. You don't want to waste that valuable time because after a while, people get older, and contracts and things of that nature, they got to move on. I thought it was a mistake. But this season, I don't expect them to move to Aaron Rodgers. I expect Minnesota to still stay with JJ, assuming he doesn't get hurt in the
Oh yeah,
offseason or
yeah.
something else happens. I don't know, but
No, I expect them to stick with JJ as well. I'm just saying those would be two great spots for Aaron. If he can land in one of those spots, it'll be good for him. I expect them to stick with JJ, and I didn't
Mhm,
expect them to even consider Aaron Rodgers based off what we did see last year with the Jets
mhm,
because it was straight garbage.
mhm.
But it just goes to show how garbage the New York Jets organization is because they were even worse this year than they were last year
Yeah, they
when Aaron
definitely were.
Rodgers was there. So, I mean, yeah, that franchise is terrible. So, based off what he just showed this
Mhm.
season, the grit, the moxie, the willingness to want to win and go out there and win. Uh, Justin Jefferson is already in place. Aaron Jones
Yes,
and
and I would definitely
Jordan
trying to get
Mason,
him. If I was the GM,
Madison,
I'd be trying to call his agent.
TJ Hawkinson, those guys are already, and that defense is already there. And you look at
Mhm,
Atlanta with Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, they signed him
mhm.
back, and the defense that Raheem Morris just left with those young guys on the Pierce, those guys, yeah, man, those are two ready-made situations. Both of those situations have question marks at quarterback. Now, can JJ McCarthy bounce back next year with a whole off season? Maybe he gets a little bit stronger. Maybe he can survive the gauntlet. Then they have their quarterback. But in Atlanta with Michael Penix, he's probably going to be out for a quarter or a half of the season. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to need somebody who can start. If they don't keep Kirk Cousins, you're going to need somebody who you can bring in as a stopgap guy
Mm-hmm.
until Michael Penix is ready. And I don't see anyone more perfect than Aaron Rodgers.
Look at this. I think Aaron's had it. Honestly speaking, I think he's had it. But I get what you're saying. Going to in terms of to a contender. Read some of these comments because they filling up. Ricky, diehard sports fan. What's up, Ricky? Ravens should have played versus the Texans, but I'm glad the Texans exposed the Steelers. Mike Tomlin has to be fired. I knew that. I said to my look, that was going to be the conversation if they lost this game, regardless, because now it's been quite a few QBs, and it's been the same. They get to the same place, and then they go right out in that first round every single time. So they really got to figure out is the standard the standard? Just get into the playoffs and then hitting the road and going to Cancun, the Bora Bora in the first round, or are you trying to get further and obviously get back to winning championship?
Yeah,
Championships.
I don't
That's really
understand.
what it is right now.
I don't
Um,
understand why people don't understand that the Pittsburgh Steelers in the history of the franchise have never fired a head coach, and you want the black head coach to be the first one to get fired in the history of a franchise. No, Mike Tomlin has earned the right to step down whenever he's ready to step down. I don't understand why we can't respect that.
I'm sorry if I'm the owner, I respect you and what you brought to this organization, but I'm trying to win. And like I said this a while ago, it is okay to admit that somebody is a great coach and you've had a wonderful run and there's no ill will here. I wish you well. But right here at this franchise, we tried it a few different ways. We brought in different QBs. Now they may not be the Tom Brady's, of the world, of Patrick Mahomes, I get it. But when you see other coaches still find a way to win playoff games, aka Kyle Shanahan, it's like, okay, what we got to do here? You know what I mean? Everybody blamed Russell Wilson last year, but they misplaced that they got last year with Aaron Rodgers. You know, they lost the last few games, and either way, they still got there, but it still hasn't looked any different. The outcome is still the same exact outcome. I'm not advocating for him to be fired, but I do feel like it should be like a mutual decision for both parties at this point to move forward. And
My,
I think a new place would be a breath of fresh air for him as well.
it might be. That's not my point. My point is
What's up, big
that
dog?
the Pittsburgh Steelers have been in business since 1933. They're
And
the
it's
seventh
2026.
oldest. Right. It's 2020. So since 1933, they only
Mm-hmm.
have what 5 or 6 championships total.
Mm-hmm.
That means they've had other coaches who also coached for 19, 20, 20 some years
Mm-hmm.
who won 1 or 2 championships, and then they had a long drought of not winning, and they never got fired.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole point is, I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying I don't want the black guy to be the first one to get fired. Everyone, all those other coaches had the right to step down when they were ready. Mike Tomlin has earned the right, and he's the most successful out of all the coaches. He has
Mm-hmm.
earned the right to step down whenever he sees fit it is to step down, and
No,
I
I
ride with
disagree with
that.
that. If I'm paying you money to win games, it's not
He's
just
winning
you staying
games.
around for the 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, and we get to the same place, and you just step down when you want to step down. And look, like I said, we can have a conversation like men. You know what I mean? I don't have to necessarily fire you and got to have it spread across ESPN like Mike Tomlin has been fired from Pittsburgh or whatever have you. But you can agree to like mutually part ways, as opposed to being like, oh, like we just fire him and send him packing. But at this point, like what is the goal? And then that's the real conversation, honestly speaking. Is the goal to have him there? We like him, we love him, he's revered, all the things, and get to the same place and then go home every single year? Or are we trying to get further? Now, obviously, it's hard to win a Super Bowl. Like no one does that every
Very
single season.
hard.
Like like people are not running it back. 2, 3,
Right.
4, 5 years in a row. Of course, it's hard. But like I said, it's gotten to a point now where it's like same thing with I understood why they got rid of John. I kind of disagree with a little bit, but I understood why they did it. Because what are we doing here? And they really have to figure that out. Or as ownership, are you okay with just getting right here every single season? and then going home. If you're okay with that and that's the standard that you have for the organization because you love Mike Tomlin, you don't want to get rid of him, then this conversation is pointless. Then go ahead and do what you've been
Right.
doing and see if one of these seasons, your luck changes. But for me, if I'm the owner, like we got to have a conversation. Something has to shift. We got to do something different here, man.
Yeah, I
Hold on,
can't.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me read some of these comments now because I don't
Okay.
want to miss. I don't want to miss them. Big dog. Oh, we're just talking about that. I wonder if Mike
Shout out to
Tomlin.
Tony Williams out there too.
I wonder if Mike Tomlin on Indeed. He's not on Indeed. I don't think so.
No.
Aaron Rodgers is washed up. He should retire. LOL. He definitely looked a little washed tonight, and tired for sure. Washed up. Rodgers needs to retire. What's up, Tony? Hello, everyone. Hello, Tony. How are you? Big dog. Aaron Rodgers needs to take his old his old behind home. DJ. The Jets were right to not re-sign Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, it didn't work out with Justin either. He said hello, Ekaja. Hello, Nadi. That is Tony. What's up? What's up? Okay, we go down some more. What if a pick six goes down as Aaron Rodgers' last play?
That's football. That's how it goes. If I'm not mistaken, I think Brett Favre's last pass was a pick six, but I have to go back and look it up. But if I can remember correctly, his last pass was a pick six. That's how the game goes. You don't get to go out on your own terms all the time.
I
John
think,
Elway did,
yeah.
but it's rare.
I mean, honestly speaking, I think for me, because for everybody else, I'll think more about his entire career than just like this last game. That's just me personally, though. Now I can't speak for everybody, all football fans or whatever, But for me, when I think about Aaron Rodgers, I think about his whole career. I won't just think about this last play because it definitely wasn't his best game, but it is what it is. It is football. Big dog, I think it's time for Aaron Rodgers and Russell. Don't put Russell Wilson in this conversation, okay? Russell's younger, and Russell to go home to their families. They've done enough. Well, they each have won one, right? Do the Steelers
Yep.
keep their head coach? We were just talking about that. I don't know. We're gonna see. I don't, whatever happens, I don't expect them to fire him. If anything, I think it'll be like they agreed to mutually part ways, or Mike Tomlin agrees to step down, kind of thing. I can't
Right.
see them just outright firing him. I'll be surprised if they do, But stranger things have happened, right? Hold on. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson will be competing to be the Jets' backup QB. Y'all gonna leave Russell Wilson alone, all right?
Nah.
Y'all gonna leave my guy
Russell
alone.
Wilson might, but Aaron Rodgers has too much pride to go out like that. He ain't doing that.
And that probably should have been on better display tonight because I thought his body language was awful and very unbecoming. Bro, we ain't trying to hear that blackity black-ish. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Tomlin and Pittsburgh need to go their separate ways. He coached somewhere else. Do you want to respond? Or keep going to the comments?
Well, I just disagree. It's
Okay.
it's fine. All we ask the head coach to do is lead a team that can win and get to the playoffs. If we get to the playoffs, we have a chance. Now he's getting to the playoffs with. I mean, can I name some of these quarterbacks he's getting to the playoffs with? Aaron Rodgers at
Go ahead.
42, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph. He had Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson. I mean,
And Rusty Trust.
yeah, I'm saying he hasn't had a franchise. It's not like what John Harbaugh had when you got Lamar Jackson. You have a franchise quarterback. You have a multiple-time MVP, and the quarterback is not on the same page with you. He didn't give you the endorsement that you needed from the front office. They decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and part ways.
We're gonna blame Lamar, huh? Okay.
Right. This way we can. It's on Lamar now. I get that. We can't. We scapegoat the head coach. Well, that's not the situation with Mike Tomlin. He won with Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, Ben Roethlisberger has been gone. The general manager has failed to put a franchise quarterback in place. He's winning with second string guys, has-beens. So, I mean, I can't put it on the I think he's done one of the best coaching jobs that we've seen in the NFL, especially over the last 5 to 10 years. So give him a franchise quarterback and then let's see. Because the defense is always on point.
That sounds like a bunch of excuses. I'm sorry. Like a bunch of excuses. Look, when you see, even if when they play the Houston Texans tonight, excuse me because I'm stuttering. Houston Texans obviously on the offensive side was struggling. CJ Stroud has been struggling. And even when
Yeah,
he was out this season, the backup QB came in and he looked pretty decent,
right.
behind, and playing, playing, a quarterback, But above all else, D'Amico, defensive-minded coach, that defense is
Mm-hmm.
rocket. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin, your thing is defense. Do what you got to do for defense to be able to control and help you win the games. We've seen other coaches do it with different QBs and do it with QBs who are
Who?
of lesser stature.
Name one.
Who was the backup QB that won some games? What's his name again? I forgot. When CJ
I don't
Stroud went out.
know.
What's his name?
Yeah,
My
he
point
played.
exactly.
Yeah, you talking about Davis Mills. Davis Mills was a starting quarterback in the league. Then they drafted CJ Stroud and that moved Davis Mills back. But Davis Mills is one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL. He's capable of coming in and winning some games. With all that being said,
But the defense is still
yeah,
the star of the
D'Amico
show.
Ryan's
No
D'Amico
matter
Ryan's has
no
done a
matter who's the quarterback.
you're correct. D'Amico Ryan's has done a great job of getting to the playoffs with Houston Texans for the last 3 years since he had CJ Stroud. And they have no Super Bowls.
And the first time head coach at that, right?
Right. And they have no Super Bowls. So I mean, it's the same thing. And now if the Houston Texans go on to win the Super Bowl, then you make the perfect argument. But until then, they're getting bounced in the first, second round.
Well, I'm talking about first
Because your
off, he doesn't have
quarterback.
the same he doesn't have the same amount of experience that Mike Tomlin has as being the head coach.
Oh no,
And
no,
then
no. Don't
and then you did
nobody.
it,
But who
and then you did
does?
it with the QB, who obviously is young. He's still young, he's still,
Right. He was the
he's
number 2
3
pick in
years,
the draft.
yeah. He's not like, 10 years, and experience under his belt in the NFL. You know what I
Right.
mean? He's still very young. Obviously, his rookie season was his best thus far. He's been on a struggle
Yeah.
bus. He's been injured. A lot has happened, but through it all, he still found the way to get to the playoffs. And dare I
Right.
say, actually win a playoff game. Like
Right.
I don't like Mike Tomlin. Again, we can go back to Big Ben, but if we're talking about what's happened in the past, well, I would say at least 8 years. Forget. I'm not gonna even go past that. I'm gonna just say the last 8 years. It's something I can't just put it all on the quarterback because you brought in different quarterbacks. Now, Mike Tomlin, being that he's revered in that franchise, I'm gonna go out and say he's one of the coaches that has a little bit more say than maybe some other coaches might. He may not because he's been there so long, because they respect him and they love him. You know what I mean? Like he can go in and be like, okay, I want to do my belief. I want to bring this one in. I want to draft that one, so on and so forth. I think they would actually let him do that because they respect him. So I don't know what's going on when it comes time for the draft, how the conversations are being had, how the talent is being assessed, and what's going on. But there's a disconnect there because it always ends in the same exact place. In spite of them bringing new talent on, it ends in the same exact place every single season. And if
Yeah.
the owner's okay with it, and like I said, if
Yeah.
the owner's
He
okay with
hasn't.
it,
Right.
then that's what matters.
He hasn't had a top 10 quarterback drafted in his expected to win. Omar Khan makes the decisions at general manager. Yes, Mike Tomlin has some input, but he's not like Belichick or Sean Payton. Those guys have total control. It's very few coaches in the NFL that plays both the coach and the general manager. Mike Tomlin doesn't play both the head coach and the general manager. He's the
No, he's
head
not the
coach.
GM, but I think he has a little more say,
Omar
more
Khan
input
is the
than you give
general
him credit
manager.
for.
Omar Khan will listen to Mike Tomlin, but at the end of the day, Omar Khan makes roster decisions. That's just how it goes.
I
That's
think
just
Mike Tomlin
football.
has more input than you want to give him credit for.
No, all right, okay.
Like we can't in one breath say, "Oh, Mike Tomlin is he's been there, he's earned the right to leave when he wants to leave," but in the same breath, they're like, "Oh, well, he can't really give that much input." Like the two don't go together.
Yeah,
Something's missing from that.
he doesn't play both general manager and head coach.
No,
He's
I
not
didn't
that
say he
guy.
was general manager. I'm
Right.
saying if you're saying that he's earned the right to just say,
I mean,
"Okay,
yeah. I
I'm
mean, you
going to
thought
leave
that
here
same
now,"
thing about
like
Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barron. I told you, and now you found out later on that Kevin Stefanski didn't have much to say as you thought he did, being a 2-time
I
coach
said
of the
he had
year.
input. I never said
Yeah,
he
but
had.
he didn't.
I thought he had more than what you
But
said.
we
But Kevin
found out.
Stefanski,
But we
but what
found
Kevin
out that
Stefanski means to Cleveland
I'm saying.
and
But
what
we
Mike
found
Tomlin means
out.
to Pittsburgh are
Yeah.
two very, very
But my
different
whole
things.
point.
We,
Yes, my
we
whole
can't mix
point
and match.
is
We can't mix and
yes.
match the
My
arguments to
whole
make a
point
point.
is we found out that he didn't have as much say so as you thought he did.
I
Because
never said exactly how much say he had. I said I
yeah,
thought he had more than what you believe.
right,
That's what I said.
but he didn't have
But
that
I didn't
much.
give a
He had
percentage.
about as
I
much
didn't
as I
say he has
believe.
like 30%, he has 40%, he has
Yeah,
60. I never gave a percentage.
he
But
had
I do believe, and
5%.
I still stand on that. I think he had more
They
than
didn't
what you think
they
he
didn't
did.
even let the man pick his own quarterback in the whole time that he was in the franchise. He never got to pick his own quarterback.
Did
That's
he
how
not pick
much say
Dylan?
he had. Yeah, but then the freaking general manager went and took another quarterback right behind him.
He still picked his QB.
Yeah,
You
so
say he
I
didn't pick his
mean,
QB.
right.
You
And
say he
then
didn't pick his
they
QB.
let him pick a quarterback in the third round. Like, okay, this the quarterback you want to let me pick. Like, I can't pick my quarterback in the first round. I can't get him at number 2. No, because you want to get another guy at number 2. That's Andrew Berry. But that's not here nor there. My whole point is
That
you'll
report
be
came out from
surprised.
Mary.
You'll be so surprised at how little input head coaches actually have on teams. Not saying that
I'm
Mike
not talking
Tomlin
about all.
doesn't.
I'm not talking about all NFL coaches. I'm talking specifically
Right,
about Mike Tomlin and what he means to
right,
that franchise.
right.
That's
Even
what
John Harbaugh. John
I'm not
Harbaugh was
comparing him to Aaron
John,
Glenn
right,
or to Mike
right.
before he got
But
fired in
John
Miami.
Harbaugh, for example, John Harbaugh was in Baltimore for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make player personnel decisions. He didn't pick Lamar Jackson. Ozzie Newsome picked Lamar Jackson. That was his
Mm-hmm.
last pick. They got general managers who do that job. All John Harbaugh's job is to do is to coach the
And they
team.
also got rid of him.
Right. That's my whole point. But
But
that's
you're
Baltimore.
saying that Mike Tomlin has earned the right to just
Yeah,
leave Pittsburgh when he wants
because
to.
unlike Baltimore, Pittsburgh has never fired a coach in the history of the franchise. Baltimore
If they
has.
have that much respect for Mike Tomlin to just let him walk out in spite of them losing in the first round of playoffs multiple seasons back to back to back to back to back and not really move forward and still pay him in spite of them not really progressing, in the same breath I can't say, okay, well, he doesn't really have any kind of input. He can't really say
I didn't
much.
say he had no input. He does. Him and Omar Khan have a very good relationship. They do
Hmm.
discuss player personnel, but at the end of the day, Mike Tomlin's
And
main
that's my
job is to
point.
coach the team. Omar Khan's job is to select the players and work on the salary cap. So,
And that's my point that he has
right.
some input. That's my point. I didn't say he made all the decisions alone.
But
I
the
said he
main
has some
problem
input.
But the main problem is he keeps getting them to the playoffs. He keeps winning games. So they're never in a position to select the quarterback in the top 10 or the top 15. They're never in that position. So it's been unfortunate that they've been having to play with stopgap
Mhm.
guys, backup guys, washed up guys, let me not say washed up, guys who are later in their careers. This is what he has been dealing with. He hasn't had a franchise quarterback since Big Ben, and that's partly I'll even if he has him say so. That's partly on him for being too good of a head coach, but that's partly on Omar Khan too for not delivering. I'm not gonna let the general manager off the hook and just put it all on
No, it's
Mike
not. It's not
Tomlin.
all on Mike Tomlin. No, it's not all on Mike Tomlin. No, but you are the head coach, so they're gonna look at you. That's number
Right,
one. Like when you're the quarterback, they're gonna look at you. When you lose,
right,
when you win, like that's kind of how it goes. And the common denominator who has stayed has been him.
and he's been successful.
The quarterbacks have moved on. Like they kept
Right,
them for one season, they got there, it didn't work. Okay, let's get somebody else.
right,
They got there, it didn't work out. So when you keep
yeah,
moving QBs around
right,
and you can't get past the first round
right,
with one of them, with at least
exactly.
one.
Look at what happens to these QBs.
I'm looking at you as the
Right.
coach.
Look at what happens to these QBs when they leave Pittsburgh. You don't hear from them again. Oh, they out the league. Like, and he's get to the playoffs with these guys. It's laughable. So
Yeah, I like my time, but something needs to change. Something got to change. And
yeah, that's why I
I
say
think it'll be beneficial for him too to go someplace else at this point. I
that's
think
why I
it'll be
say
best for I think it'll be best for both.
I think that's why I believe that Aaron Rodgers has to go. We have to see what Will Howard has. If
Hmm.
Will Howard is not the guy, then it's going to be in Pittsburgh's best interest to select the quarterback in next year's draft and
Hmm.
finally, for once, have a guy that they can stamp as their franchise quarterback because they haven't had it in a while. So we have to see if Will Howard is that guy because I understand what you're saying, but I also think it's unfair that he has to be judged by in today's game. It's a quarterback's league. You need a
I'm
guy.
judging him. I'm judging him by the consistency each season,
Well,
not
he's
just
winning.
not
He's
just
winning.
this one season.
any coach would love to, any team would love to have Mike Tomlin, and
Yeah,
hell,
they might. I'm not saying that
The
they
Falcons
wouldn't.
haven't been in the playoff in 10 years. They would love to just go 10-7, and hell, if you go 9-8 in the NFC South, you in the playoffs with a home game. So yeah, I mean, so sometimes the
I mean,
grass is
the
greener on the
standard's
other
not
side.
it's not the same for every team. And that's like the standard's not the same for every QB.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like
right.
when Bryce Young compared to what they want Lamar or Josh or Joe to do, like it's different. When you've gotten certain places and you won, or you're so talented they expect you to win, or you have like the talented roster on both sides of the ball. You got all pros and so on and so forth. Your expectations are higher. That comes with it. Now, if Mike Tomlin, was new, they might be like, oh, okay, well, he's new. It's like only a third year, first time head coach, but it's been a while now, so
Yeah,
for me, I can't like not look at him and be like, okay, well, he hasn't had this, he hasn't had that, because we see Kyle Shanahan
yeah.
find a way no matter who he has. Okay, if he got to get if he got to get behind there and play
How
QB,
many
he
Super
gonna
Bowls
still find
Kyle
a way to win the
Shanahan
game.
got?
He still gets further or has gotten
Yeah,
further
I mean,
recently
they had a
anyway. He did what's
Kyle
his name
Shanahan offense had a
back to Mike
28-3
Tomlin.
lead in the Super Bowl and lost. That's what Kyle Shanahan is known for. He's known for blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. He's known for every time he reaches the Super Bowl, he
Mhm.
blows a 10-point plus lead in the second half every time he gets there. That's what he's known for, blowing games. So I
But he
mean,
still finds a way to win,
he
even
hasn't
if he doesn't
won.
necessarily have his QB. He still is getting further in the playoffs. Half of the roster is gone. Half of the roster is gone. George Kittle goes down, and
Right.
they're still advancing. Now, I'm not
Look
saying
at
they're
what
going to win
Mike
it
Tomlin,
all. I'm
the
not saying they're going to win
Pittsburgh
it all
Steelers.
now because injuries might catch up with them.
Right.
But they're still getting further. They still have a chance to compete for the Super Bowl. Meanwhile,
Right.
Pittsburgh is staying at home or going on vacation tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, they. It's unfortunate that Pittsburgh Steelers for the last 4 years have been looking for a number 2 wide receiver. Omar Khan, why you can't get us another wide receiver? Hey,
And as a head coach,
that's
like
terrible.
where's the conversation at?
I coached the team.
Where's the conversation at?
It's your. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin is telling me we need another wide receiver. We need another wide receiver. Let's trade. Let's do something. Let's go in the draft. Whatever we need. There's no excuse for not
And
being
then
able
they're,
to
and
have
they're just not
another
listening
wide
to him. They're
receiver.
like, no, you don't need it. Figure it out.
Right. So because
That's what you're saying.
you keep putting, yeah, because Omar Khan keeps putting, and I'm not blaming him. Maybe him and Mike Tomlin
Mhm.
are talking about it. They're putting all their resources on defense. And so the offense, and
I
you've
mean
seen
that
the
is
offense.
his.
The
He's not
offense,
an
right.
offensive guy, but yeah.
The
I get what
offense
you're
is
saying.
the offense has been bare. It's been bare for the last, what you want to say, 8 years.
Well, when
This
they
is what
brought
it
Arthur in, the conversation last season was, oh, Russell Wilson is not the kind of QB that Arthur
yeah,
wants, and he can't really call the plays that he wants to call, and so on and so forth. So you get Aaron Rodgers, and offense still wasn't. I mean, they had some good
now,
games, they had some bright moments. Don't get me wrong,
right.
but it wasn't like the offense was just rolling the entire season.
I will blame Tomlin for that, for bringing in Arthur Smith. That
I'm like,
was
at least
that's
get
the kind of,
somebody else, man.
I don't like Arthur Smith. I never have liked him as an offensive
Hmm.
coordinator. When he was in Tennessee, I didn't like
Hmm.
him as a head coach in Atlanta. This
Hmm.
is a guy who has a job because of nepotism. His father is the founder of FedEx, and he's from
Hmm.
Tennessee. This guy has no football background. It's just his father is the FedEx. FedEx is a company that's ran out of Tennessee. They got him a job with the Tennessee Titans, and the rest is history. So this is not a football lifer. This is a guy who nepotism got him in the position that
Hmm.
he's in. He's never been good at his job. So I blame
Why?
Mike Tomlin for
Why does he still
that,
have it then? But read
because
some
the
more of these comments.
NFL is the good old boy network.
DJ said Tomlin to the Ravens or Raiders.
Please, not the
Mike
Raiders.
Mike Tomlin coaching Lamar. He likes Lamar. He's spoken highly about him a few
Oh yeah,
times.
oh
So
yeah.
yeah, you never know.
They'll
The
win the
Mr.
Super Bowl.
Jackson, as he calls him. So
They'll
you
win the
never
Super
know.
Bowl. Yeah, the Ravens
You
will
know.
win the Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin.
Okay. Ricky, diehard sports fan. At DJ, if Mike Tomlin goes to the Ravens or Raiders, that will be interesting. I agree, it will be interesting. Amanda, what's up? I said Amanda. I'm sorry, Amanda. I'm sorry, Amando. What's up, Amando? Texans gonna whoop the Patriots. Drake May ain't ready. We gonna look. He didn't look too ready yesterday. We gonna see. It's the playoffs, right? Tony said he does have a year left, right? Tomlin, I mean. I'm not sure how long he has left. Do you know
Tomlin
how long
has
he has
until he
left?
wants to step down left.
What's about the contract?
Yeah, but I'm saying his contract is always it's not important. It's never been important how many years he have left because it's already established that he can step down whenever he's ready.
What does
But
the
he
contract
but
say is the
but he
question. That's
he
what we
extended
asking.
he extended his contract last off season. I'm not sure how many years
Okay,
he extended it by, but he
got
extended
you.
his contract because they're giving him the opportunity to step down when he wants to. He does this
Exactly, and that's
often.
what I'm saying. They're giving him all that,
Right.
but you telling
Right.
me that he can't really give no input in who they bringing
They
in. The
have a
two don't
general manager
go
who
together.
they I'm saying they have a
Two don't
general
go
manager who
together.
they respect too. And then you got to understand who is the president. Pittsburgh is actually a well-ran organization. Art Rooney II is the president of football operation. The Rooneys know their football. They've been running the franchise since the 30s. They know their football. They don't need a head coach to make all the decisions. These guys know their football. They make personnel decisions. They don't put it on the head coach to do that. The head coach job is to coach, motivate the players. That's what his job is to do. So yeah, he has some input, but it's not a 50-50 thing. Omar Khan is a respected general manager inside that organization. They trust Omar Khan to make decisions as well. So if we should be talking about firing anybody, we should be talking about firing both of them, if
There we
anything.
go. So that's fine with me too. We can go ahead with both of them then, and bring a whole new regime in, and we'll know and see what's going on with Will and what's going on because the defense is still a defense. They pay all that money for it, so that's still going to be there. But yeah, go ahead. I agree with that. Everybody move on the offensive side. Get rid of the coach. Get rid of the OC. Use and bring in Will. Get some pieces in the draft, and let's see what happens. Mondo. Ricky said, Mondo, the Texans is going to be exposed. The Patriots on offense and defense. Patriots are frauds. They should be nervous to play versus that scary Texans defense. Drake May about to get exposed. All right. Patriots win versus the Chargers was not an impressive win. It wasn't, I agree. But the Texans are about to expose Drake May and the Patriots. Y'all going back and forth. Okay, okay. All right. Armando, Tom will be great for Miami.
No, he wouldn't be great for Miami. I mean, he'll be great anywhere. He can win anywhere, but I'm talking about the big picture. We talking about Super Bowls. Then he needs to go somewhere where he has a franchise quarterback.
Well,
If he
they
if
just
he if
paid
he if
Tua.
he if he decides to leave Pittsburgh,
They paid Tua. The
yeah.
main thing they need is stability, a long-term coach to build from the ground up. All right, y'all going back. Okay. All right, somebody else. I don't know. You put this, Chris. What's up, Chris? You put this comment in here a few times about my bills. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. All right. Browns are a dumpster fire. Nobody was surprised when the Browns fired Kevin Stefanski. Surprised? No. CJ Stroud played a below average game. They still won by 24 points. Can't wait. CJ can't afford to play that point next week. And I heard you guys talk about Kyle Shanahan. Kyle hasn't been the same since 28-3. The 49ers should move on from him. Kyle 0-4 in the Super Bowl or 0-3. All right, we are all caught up, you guys, on these comments. Thank you guys for your comments. Keep them coming. So moving on to the Texan side of things, we've been on this. We've been on Mike Tomlin for a hot minute now. Moving on to the Texan side of things, did you think this was an impressive win?
Oh yeah, the defense was impressive. The
Mm-hmm.
defense is legit as I thought it was. I mean, they only gave up what 6 points. Oh, that's great. That's a great start to the playoffs. And they are a Super Bowl away. I think I text you this. They are a Super Bowl away from being considered
Mm-hmm.
one of the all-time great defense this league has ever seen. Their defense can carry them all the way. They just need a quarterback to protect the ball. CJ, stop turning the ball over. Your defense is really good. They can win you games. All you have to do is protect the ball, and man, sky's the limit for that team. I love the way that defense gets after the quarterback, and I love the back end with Bullock, Petrie, Jalen Petrie. I mean, he just balled out today. He balled out in the secondary. He balled out in stopping the run. I mean, he was just all over the place tonight. And then of course, when you talk about Stingley, and man, that defense is just too good. That defense is great.
I think CJ at some point is going to be their downfall in one of these games. Now, I would say, you have a Steelers, offense. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not who he used to be. So, like, he couldn't even blink without them knocking him on his ass tonight. And he was so frustrated early on. I think he was just like, oh my God, give me some competent wide receivers around me. Like, what the hell? He was cursing everybody out. Like, he could not, like just get his composure back to me. And that was a big part of it, part of it as well. Cause like all the arguing, the yelling and what, like, it wasn't helping him. It was not helping his team at all. They were not receiving it. And if he was trying to motivate them by cursing them out, it had the opposite effect. Like last week, it was a little bit different. You know what I mean? He was cursing, but he didn't give up. To me, he kind of like gave up like early in this game. And he was like, I'm just done. Like this, we're not going to win this game. Like this is just not going to happen. He was out there still throwing the ball and getting knocked down. Yes, he didn't like walk off the field, but he was just out of it to me mentally. Um, CJ Stroud to me, I said this before, like the Texans defense is legit. At some point, CJ Stroud is going to have to do what he needs to do for them to win these playoff games. Every team is not going to be the Steelers. They're not. And I think at some point, when they do get bounced, it's not because of that defense, it's because of CJ Stroud. I don't. I can't see them getting to the Super Bowl because of CJ Stroud.
I can't disagree with you, especially. I mean, we see Nico Collins went out today with the concussion, and we gotta have to see if is he gonna be available for next week against the Patriots. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely when you lose your top receiver, that's even gonna make it even tougher. Which it puts more onus. Like I said, I'll just run the air out the ball. If I'm there, I'm running the football. I'm running the football. I'm running the football some more. I'm not gonna let CJ Stroud lose it for me. That's what I'm because my
Mm-hmm.
defense. I know what my defense represents. CJ
Yeah.
Stroud, he could be their Achilles heel. He could be their Achilles heel because if he turns the ball over, he continues to turn the ball over. He had 3 today. If he turned the ball over 3 times against the Patriots, they're going to lose. And it's going to be a season squandered. And that's what I'm saying. Like, D'Amico Ryans has done a great job with this
Mm-hmm.
team and coaching this
Yes.
team.
Yeah, they ready. They
They
went through a wall for
they
him.
they
Like,
selected CJ Stroud at number 2.
mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud is supposed to be their franchise quarterback. We see how CJ Stroud is performing. If they
He
don't
did look
win,
like it at one point.
right, right. But I'm saying if he continues to turn the ball over and they don't win,
Yeah.
I don't want to put that all on D'Amico Ryans. I want to I like to put the onus on the players. Like if you don't go out there and execute, then I'm not finna blame the head coach because you didn't execute. I'm finna blame you for not executing. You were put in position to succeed, and then you didn't succeed. That's on you. If anything, we need to go look at replacing you, but I'm not finna replace the head coach. That's what I'm not
Well,
gonna do.
not every situation is created equal. Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh is something different. Texans are a whole different situation.
Yeah,
I'm
but I'm
not going
saying
to put
I'm
CJ Stroud in
saying
the
there are
same
coaches.
conversation.
There are
Yeah.
coaches when I watch the game, I'm like, okay, that coach he ran that was poor clock management,
Mm-hmm.
or why did they do that then? Why did he go for it when they should have kicked the field goal? Or why did they go
Mm-hmm.
for it when they should have punted? There's bad coaching decisions that
Absolutely.
lose teams games. And when I see that,
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, that coach right there, it's time to move on from that coach because that coach, like, if you don't run Derrick Henry, your workhorse in the last 5 minutes of the game that could put you in the playoffs, then I get it. I understand why they had to make a move. That's poor
Mm-hmm.
coaching decisions. But
Mm-hmm.
when the coaches put the players in position to succeed and the players don't execute, when
Mm-hmm.
you have um the quarterback turn the ball over 3 times unnecessarily, when you have wide receivers out there not catching the balls that are hitting them right in the hand, when you have running backs who are allowing linemen to run straight through and you're not picking up the block and you about to get your quarterback killed, like
Mm-hmm.
that's on the players. Y'all got to do better. So I just like to put responsibility on the players. I do blame coaches when it's obvious that this coaching made a terrible decision, but those turnovers, those are CJ fault, and he has to get better because, like you said, with the way that defense is playing, he's gonna be the reason they don't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
All right, you guys, gonna move on. Speaking of, wait, we're gonna go right on to who they face next. We're gonna go on to the Patriots versus the Chargers. A lot left to be desire from both teams. Obviously, now the Patriots did get the win. One thing I will shout out Drake May for, obviously, first time, first playoff game. It wasn't his best game, obviously. He struggled, but when he needed to, he got his team at least in position to kick field goals and put some points on the board, and they got the W. So starting with the Patriots side of things, were you, I guess, impressed by what you saw yesterday, or did you leave the game feeling confident like this team right now, with Drake May where he is right now, they can win it all this year?
I don't know if they can win. I don't think they can win it all. I'm not picking them to win
Mhm.
it all. Mike Vrabel is an excellent head coach. For the life of me, when he was in Tennessee, I was like, "What are y'all doing? Why y'all letting Mike Vrabel go?" And now they can't. Now they looking for another head coach because it's not easy to replace good head coaches. Now he goes to New England, and they're one of the best teams in the whole league with a second year quarterback who he did what he was supposed to do. In the playoffs, points are at a premium. Field goals count. Those points go a long way in the playoffs. And I think Mike Vrabel did a good job of putting his team for not putting his team in position where they can cost them. The defense
Mhm.
played great, and the quarterback didn't cost them the game. He allowed them to take those field goals, take those
Mhm.
points. We're just gonna jab, 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 jab because the other quarterback who hasn't proven to be able to perform in the big game yet, he can't beat us. We just don't need to lose to him. And I like the strategy that they had, and it's on the next week. They have another playoff game in Foxborough. It should be good.
It should more, honestly speaking, looking at the way he struggled yesterday, because they know, and Texans defense. I mean, I'm just sending some prayers up ahead for the Drake May real talk, because that
Oh
Texans
yeah,
defense they're gonna be coming. I mean, man, this is gonna be, if he can get past this Texans defense, I gotta say they got a real legit shot. Unless something happens and the defense just happens to not show up, next week, I don't expect that to happen. But if they show up the way they did today, and they're gonna be even more revved up, I'm pretty sure, than they were this past game, because it's getting closer and closer, somebody's gonna get hurt because that
oh yeah,
defense is like, oh man, they're like a bunch of wild dogs out there, like
oh
the
yeah.
hyenas. I'm like, ooh. Um,
What?
but I think it's gonna come down to QBs again. Like
Yeah,
CJ Stroud. You're gonna take care of the ball. Drake May. He had an interception yesterday. Like,
right.
you know, um, I don't expect, like, he ran for, to extend plays, get him in field goal
Oh
position.
yeah,
I do
66
not
rushing
expect that
yards.
Texas defense to allow that to happen.
Right.
They're gonna be like,
Well,
absolutely not.
well,
Like,
you.
they're gonna limit you.
I think both these teams got tested. You know, the Chargers have a really good defense. They've been playing great defense all season,
They did all they could
and
yesterday, really and truly.
yeah,
They did all
yeah.
they
I
could.
mean,
I wasn't even mad at them.
that defense
I'm like,
is
they did what they could.
was a top 10 defense this year. And Drake May, he didn't play terrible. He just didn't play. He
His
didn't play
best.
MVP type football. I mean,
Hmm.
he still was, you know, what 17, 29, 268, a touchdown. He ran for 66 yards. So he had over 320 total yards. And he had a touchdown. He played well, but he got sacked 5 times and he turned the ball over once. And in this next week game, turnovers gonna cost you double.
Yeah, I
So
don't see him running for those 66 yards or any kind of yards too much next week, if I'm being honest with you.
right. And CJ Stroud on his side, he played a really good defense today. Now he did turn the ball over 3 times, which concerns me because if the Patriots get those same 3 turnovers, they're gonna put up more than 6 points on the board. So because they have more
But that
on their
defense, I'm not so sure.
yeah, well, the Patriots have more on their offense than Pittsburgh have on their
Hmm.
offense. So they're not gonna if you turn the ball over 3 times, they're gonna score some points. They're not gonna score 6 points. You're not gonna beat the New England Patriots 30-6. You're gonna have to protect the ball in order for your defense to have its best chance of limiting the New England
Hmm.
Patriots from scoring, which you can do, but you can't put your defense in harm's way. And so that's
Hmm.
what CJ Stroud had to understand. We can beat the Patriots with our
Hmm.
defense, but I have to do my job. And my number one job is to not put my defense in harm's way. So if he can do that, then yeah, they have a great chance of beating the Patriots. But the Patriots defense is they're not the Bengals. They're not the Dallas Cowboys. They're gonna come play some really good defense. That's where Mike Vrabel he specializes. He specializes on defensive side of the ball. He's a great head coach and he's a great defensive mind. And then you got Josh McDaniel on the other side. And when it comes to offensive coordinators, he's one of the best offensive coordinators in the league. So it comes down to, is the rookie gonna be ready? And we're going to see which quarterback. I think it is going to come down to which quarterback performs the best, which quarterback protects the ball better than the other quarterback.
And if it's come down to quarterbacks, I'm gonna go on ahead and just say the Patriots should win this win this game. I do expect Drake May to take better care of the ball than CJ. The way it's looked, you know what I mean. Now CJ could come up and have one hell of a game, but the way it's looked, I'm not confident in him at all.
Right.
Not even a little bit. That the defense has bailed them out the entire season. Going back to last season, that defense has been a starter show. If they happen to lose, a key piece, somebody goes down, because those things happen. I hope it doesn't, but we're gonna see. Because a lot is riding on that defense, And to me, CJ is gonna at some point, he's gonna be the reason why either they move on or they're going home.
Right. I agree. I can't disagree with that.
But going to the opposite side of things, Justin Herbert, man, I told you, I said the Chargers are going to win this game. Justin Herbert is he's going to redeem himself. He's going to go out there after what happened last season, throwing the 4 interceptions. And he's going to be like, you know what? Let me show the people that, and show myself more importantly, that I am one of those ones. I am a top 10, top 5, however you want to put him, QB in this league. And oh God, I was watching this game like, Justin, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you going? He was just all out of sorts. Like he didn't like there was no kind of prep. Like he just was just gone. At this point though, do you think it's time for him to get a new QB, at least draft somebody else, make it a QB competition?
That's a difficult question to answer because Justin Herbert is regarded as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But I've seen John Harbaugh move on. I mean, Jim Harbaugh move on from quarterbacks before who were winning. I mean, Alex Smith was a winning quarterback. He was winning your 13 games, 14 games. He went out one game. Jim Harbaugh put Colin Kaepernick in the game, and Alex Smith got healthy, and he said, "I'm right with Colin Kaepernick." And they went to the Super Bowl. That's where he'll do that. He's unconventional in that way. So Justin Herbert is not a lock to be the quarterback for the Chargers in the future. Not as long as Jim Harbaugh is the head coach, because he's about winning. He's been successful everywhere he's went. He'll win by hook or crook. So I mean, I'm looking at these numbers: 159 yards on 30. I'm surprised that Jim Harbaugh didn't run the ball more than he did. I mean, his running backs touched the ball 12 times. Justin Herbert ran for another 10 times. He threw for 31 times. That's unbalanced. That's unlike a Jim Harbaugh team, especially when his defense is playing as well as they play.
They talk about injuries too. A lot of injuries also as well.
Yeah, I mean Hampton wasn't that healthy. He only had one carry. So now you got Vidal. Vidal ran it 11 times. But I'm just still surprised that Harbaugh didn't run the ball more, considering how well his defense played. For some reason, the last 2 playoffs, Harbaugh has decided to trust his quarterback. Now, maybe his quarterback had showed him throughout the regular season. I know last year he had a great regular season. This year he had a great regular season. Maybe he's shown him in the regular season that he can be the guy. So Harbaugh trusts him when he get in the playoffs. But again, he's laid an egg. That's 2 years in a row. He's laid an egg when it comes time to play big boy football. And so
let's not forget how he looked before he even came there. If we're going all the way, looking at his history.
I mean, we can go all the way back to when he was in college. I didn't like Justin Herbert in
college. Let's not do that.
Okay. Right, I go all the way back.
Let's go back to middle school.
Right.
I think when you look at him, like you people that they were talking like his height, his ability to run, his arm, like his stature, like he looks the part, right? He looks like the part of a franchise QB, and he plays like it typically in the regular season. Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like he needs to get a life coach when it comes to before they move into the playoff part of the season. I think he needs to sit there and talk to someone and figure out what happens with him, where like this breakdown happens, because he's capable of playing a lot better than what he does, and for some reason it just goes all out the window when the playoffs come roll around. I don't know what it is. But like I'm saying, I'm thinking life coach. Real talk. I'm like
Yeah, you
Justin
play
needs
real
a life
teams in the
coach.
playoffs. But Justin Herbert is the perfect example of undeniable talent. He has the
Uh oh.
arm, he has mobility,
Hey hey
and he
hey
has
Miss
stature.
Stacy.
Hey Stacy, how you doing? Good to see you here. Yeah, but yeah, Justin Herbert has what you call undeniable talent. He has the arm, he has the
Hmm.
stature, he has the mobility, he has everything that you want in a quarterback. But sometimes those intangibles are the
Yeah.
things that it's hard to calculate. Does he have the intangibles? And you find it out when you play in a playoff football game because you're not playing in the scrubs in the playoffs. You're
Hmm.
playing another good team that can beat you. So you
Hmm.
got to play. You got to be better than good, should I say?
I think he really feels the pressure because everybody was like Justin Herbert says he's that, he's all the things, and then playoffs come, he's a dud. Like what's going on?
Right.
You got a new head coach also, so now they're really like we brought somebody else up in here. You got some new weapons around you. Like what's happening? Like why is it not moving past the first round of the playoffs? And why do it's one thing to lose the game, but it's how he looks when they lose these games that's most concerning to me.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, if I'm the head coach, like I wouldn't give up on him just yet. But next season, if we run this back and we have the same situation, like it's great in the regular season, and then playoffs come and then you just I don't know, just disappear again, like a shell of yourself, it might be time to have a QB competition at that point. Because I don't know what's going on with you. If you get some more weapons on it and everybody's healthy, you know what I mean, and you play great up until this point, and then it happens yet again 3 times in a row, they say three is the charm. And if you're back in the same
Yeah.
exact place and you look the same way again, like,
He
man,
has all the weapons in the world. He has all the weapons in the world. I wouldn't be because Jim Harbaugh is an impatient coach. He doesn't have the patience of a
he's
lot of these
always, he seems
coaches.
like he really likes it. He really believes in Justin Herbert. He was like, well, he
Yeah,
always takes his praises, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see some interesting news coming the offseason about the quarterback position in LA. I would not be surprised. I've
I
just
wouldn't be
seen
mad if it
I've seen
did.
Jim Harbaugh do it too many
Hmm.
times.
I wouldn't be mad if it did. Do what you got to do, man,
Right,
because also they looking at you. Like they're like, well, wait, like we brought you in
right,
here, and it's still not working out. So what are you doing as the coach? Are you doing your job?
right.
So I understand. You like, look, my job is on the line too. I got something to prove here as well.
Exactly.
Um, Ricky, I think that the Texans have one turnover on offense that will cost them the game. I'm worried about the Texans offense, and I hope CJ Stroud and the Texans offense can play a turnover-free game. I understand where you are. I understand your
Yeah.
hopes. I understand your hopes, Ricky. I don't know. I'm not confident in CJ at all. I really hope I like CJ. I really hope that I'm wrong, but he's been there before. I feel like that's the one advantage that he has over Drake May is that he's been there before. Like he's experienced. Drake May is inexperienced, as far as that goes, but he's around people, coaches who have been there, so he's gonna be prepared. I think either way. But that's like the one advantage I think that he has over him, honestly speaking. But yeah, he gotta
Yeah.
figure something out. I don't know what's going on with him. All right, y'all. We're gonna move on to the game before that. The game before that. Whew, I think some real changes coming, y'all. I was like looking all day today. I was like, man, who's getting fired? What's happening? Like, I feel like I was Adam Schefter looking at my phone. Like, what's going on? The Knicks and Giannis still got a job. What's happening in Philly? This is not surprising, though, I guess, right? But you think about the Eagles and their offense, especially second half of games. They come out, they score in the
Yep.
first half. Second half, they just stay stagnant. It happened with the Bills, and it happened, I think, with the Bears also. Happened with a few teams. This is not surprising, although it is very, very disappointing. With that being said, what changes do you think will be happening in Philly in the next coming weeks, or dare I say tomorrow?
Uh, I think they're gonna scapegoat Kevin Patullo. They're gonna scapegoat him. Jalen Hurts didn't give him an endorsement today when asked about the offensive coordinator.
What did he say? 'Cause I didn't hear it.
what they asked him about it, he gave the
Hmm.
Lamar Jackson answer. It's too close to the game. I don't want to really think about it right now. Uh,
Okay.
but then they turned around and asked him about AJ Brown. They said, "Oh yeah, me and AJ cool though." Like, okay, you had time enough to give AJ an endorsement, but you didn't give the endorsement to Kevin Patullo. That lets me know everything I need to know. They're gonna scapegoat him. I wouldn't be
I think he
surprised
should have
if
been gone a long time ago.
yeah, I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if they let AJ go, or if they trade AJ. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I would trade him because
I think he should go too.
he talked a lot of talk, but when it came to walk the walk, he let the team down. He played just
Hmm.
as bad as DK Metcalf played today.
Uh-uh.
And if I'm Philly, I draft another quarterback. I gotta have a quarterback competition. I can't sit here and I can't rest on my laurels. I'm Jalen Hurts was pathetic this year. I can't move forward with that just because we won a Super Bowl doesn't mean because um Nick Foles won the Super Bowl and they moved
Hmm.
on. You don't get complacent in Philly.
Hmm.
We don't get complacent. We got to draft another quarterback to compete for that spot or develop behind Jalen Hurts because I think Jalen Hurts is maxed out. He's reached his peak. He's not going to get any better. And if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So um, I'm disappointed in Jalen Hurts' performance this whole season and the playoffs. It just wasn't good enough.
For me, I think I said this a while ago. Nick Sirianni, when the conversations kept happening over and over and over early on in the season, mid-season, towards the end of the season, we kept talking about the offense being predictable and not really, there's no creativity and no design runs and what's going on with Saquon, why it's not being involved more, and AJ Brown complaining about not being involved more, and Jalen, being Jalen. I was like, okay, they got to make Nick. I put this part on Nick Sirianni. Like you're the head coach, right? So if you went to Howie and Howie said, "Nah, he's gonna stay in place," that's something different. But even with Dan Campbell, he's like, "Look, let me take over these play calling duties." Now it wasn't the best decision, but at least there was some effort to try something different. Although it didn't work, but he's like, okay. I'm gonna try it and see what happens. I didn't really see Nick Sirianni try to do too many different things. He kept saying, "Oh, like, oh, no, it's fine. We're gonna work it out, and this, that, and the third, and when we're winning, and all these different things." I'm like, it's how you look when you're winning, it's how you look when you lose. But at this point, I think Kevin should go. It's not meshing, and for me, there's something that's a disconnect with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, one thing about him is he's consistent. Like he doesn't change it up in big games. Like he always steps up. He has in the past anyway. And did what he needed to do for them to get to the next round, ultimately win the Super Bowl, get the Super Bowl. But this season, across the board, the offense did not look the same at all. Nobody looked the same. And when you think about how it looked in the years prior, Jalen Hurts, his style of play hasn't changed. Like he is who he is. And how he plays. He's not going to be as flashy as as Patrick or as excited to watch as Josh sometimes or Lamar. Like that's not the kind of quarterback that he is. But he is smart. He can use his legs. He's hella strong and he can throw. So something to me was missing this season. I don't know what it was. Maybe it'll come out in the weeks to come in the off season. But I'm just like, how do you go from looking the way you looked last season to this season, not even really utilizing your weapons? Like you didn't lose Saquon. I can see if you lost Saquon, you lost AJ, and you're like trying to figure something out all over again. But you still had your main core in place. Why the regression? I can't put it all on Jalen Hurts.
Well, I'll just say, like I said, they're gonna scapegoat Kevin Patullo. He's gonna be gone. Most head coaches who coach the team when they go to the point where they gotta call I'm gonna all of a sudden call the defense like Dan Quinn did in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm gonna call the offense because the offensive coordinator he's taking too much heat. So I'm gonna like they don't have success. Like those teams don't have success because it don't matter what you do. The players got to
Mm-hmm.
go out there and execute. And the truth of the matter is, when you go back and watch the film, men are open. Passes are
I mean,
being
they were
dropped,
executing last season though. Like,
or passes
how
are
how
not
can you
being.
execute last season? You can't execute it all this season.
Well, one thing I noticed about this season, Jalen Hurts lost a step as far as running the football. I don't know if because of the amount of hits he's taking. I mean, every time you do that tush push, these teams are hitting you. They're getting shots on the quarterback. I don't know,
Hmm.
but he ran the ball more effectively last year. This year, it's like it took him a while to rev up. Like he has to already be going. Like he it's like he lost a step athletically. So his running
Mhm.
ability wasn't as good this year as it was last year. So he couldn't get you the 600, 700, 800 yards rushing that you were accustomed to seeing. So he really had to rely more on his arm. It's almost like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had to rely a lot on his arm this year. His rushing wasn't really a factor. And you
Mhm.
see what some of these quarterbacks become when you make them a passer. And that's what
Mhm.
happened with Jalen Hurts. They turned him into a passer, and we got to
Mhm.
see why Cam Newton didn't have Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the season as a top 10 quarterback based off his criteria. And based
Mhm.
off his criteria, it was I don't think Jalen Hurts is a great passer of the football. He needs
Mhm.
all those guys around him to make plays for
Mhm.
him. And it showed like when it was just time to we need you to make plays, he didn't make enough plays. He just didn't. Um, I don't know if that juice he can get that juice back in his legs. I don't know if that's something that he can gain back in the offseason as you get another year older and you take
Mhm.
that much a whole nother season worth of beating.
Mhm.
But I like Jalen Hurts. He's my second
Mhm.
favorite quarterback after Lamar. But I gotta call a spade a spade. Like
Mhm.
you didn't get it done. And I've seen too much film where guys are wide open and you either missing them or you're not seeing them and you're not making the play. So I understand they're gonna, scapegoat Kevin Patullo. Some head got to roll. But at the end of
Yeah,
the day,
some head
but
has
at
to
the
roll.
end of the day, after we keep rolling heads, eventually it's gonna come to your head.
Mhm.
And so that's where I'm at now. I'm at the point where okay, let's let Kevin Patullo go. Let's go ahead and fire him since this is his fault.
I
And
mean,
now
it's been
I
kind of a
don't I
revolving door anyway.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I
until the
mean
next coordinator.
once his head rolls, the next head on the guillotine is Jalen's. And that's it. So you got your one scapegoat. Now we're gonna have to see what you do when they put somebody else in place. Somebody who hopefully you endorse because they're gonna say, okay, who do you like then?
Mhm.
Okay, and that's on you.
Um, I think we saw how they look last year, and like I said, one thing about Jalen Hurts is he's consistent. He don't he's focused on the outcome. He don't really care how it looks. He's like, as long as we win the game, that's all that counts. So him and Nick Sirianni have that in common. They don't really care, if Jalen has to run the whole game. They got to tush push the whole game. They got to throw whatever it is. As long as it results in a win, 1 point win, or 25, 30, whatever points, as long as we get the win. And although AJ did not have his best game, it's so crazy how it came back to him in his final game and he
Right.
was just like out there just dropping passes after what he did throughout the season. I'm like, man, the way them tables like it just turns is crazy. But he was right in speaking out about the offense and how we need to fix that because when it comes to big games, we can just turn it on. Like we got to work on this now. So
Right.
that part was very much true, and it did come back to bite them later on. And
Yeah.
for me, so I put some of it on Nick Sirianni. Like you are the head coach. Now I don't know how much say he has and whatever have you, if any at all. But when you see it's not working and you guys were winning, barely winning, but you were, and then it kind of started to resemble what happened 2 seasons prior. I was a head coach, you step in and do something. I think he didn't because he didn't want the heat on him. If he took over those play calling duties and it still looked the same and they still lost, and it's like, okay, well, you were losing with Kevin. And then now you got rid of Kevin, or you took over his play calling duties, and it looks even worse. You guys still not winning. So now your
Right.
head's on chopping block more so than Kevin. I think he's like, no, Kevin's gonna stay there. He's gonna be the OC because I don't want that kind of smoke if it don't work out. I don't think he trusts himself to call plays. Maybe he can't really he's not really a good offensive offensive mind. I don't know. I
Well,
think
he's
he might be
called plays
limited.
before. He's
I
called
think he's
plays
limited.
before. Yeah, he might be. He's called plays before. They've had success
Hmm.
with him calling plays. It's just as a head coach, you got to coach the whole team. Sometimes some head coaches just want to focus on the whole. They like to delegate
Hmm.
authority, let the guys they delegate authority to do what they're supposed to do.
But it
It,
wasn't
it,
working.
it,
I'm all for
it,
that if it's working, but it's
at
not.
the end of the day, the head coach still has say. I don't care who
Hmm.
the offensive coordinator is or the defensive coordinator. The head
Hmm.
coach still has say over. I don't want to run on this play. I want to pass. I don't want to pass on this play. I want to run. Now I'll let you call which run is gonna be or which pass is gonna be, but
Mhm.
this is what I want. I want to go for it on this play. I don't want to
Mhm.
go for it. I want the field goal. The head coach still has the final say. So at the end
And I
of the
think he
day,
chose not to because he didn't want
right?
that kind of smoke. They be looking at
I'm
him.
saying
Well,
that
you made that
whether he
decision. What
wanted to
happened?
or not, whether he wanted to
Mhm.
or not, at the end of the day, the responsibility of the football team falls on the head coach. So you might as well make the decision. Now,
Mhm.
like I said, you can give him authority to call which run play or which passing
Mhm.
play to run, but it still is on you whether we're gonna run, pass,
Mhm.
kick, punt, go for it. That's on the head coach. So you might as well
Mhm.
make decisions because whether if it goes south, it's gonna fall on your shoulders anyway. I think what we have to all understand, which I think for the most part, we do understand when AJ Brown was talking about the offense, he was talking about Jalen Hurts. He wasn't talking about the offensive coordinator and all that. He just
Mhm.
saying as a professional, I can't call out my quarterback. But
Mhm.
his problem in the locker room was with Jalen Hurts. That's why they asked Jalen Hurts yesterday, how are you and AJ relationship? Because the media knows. And he had to say, we're good. We talked and we're gonna be good going forward because AJ, he was trying to get to Jalen Hurts, bro. You got to play better. And AJ can't say nothing because if he make a couple of those plays with the way that defense was playing, they might have
Mhm.
won that game.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not
Very,
putting it
it's
all.
still a very winnable game. Yeah.
I'm not putting it all on Jalen. AJ had a hand, no pun intended, in that. I
Mhm.
mean, catch the passes. They're hitting you right in the gloves. These
Mhm.
are for big plays. So if you catch your passes, maybe you help your quarterback get off the hook. But since you didn't make the plays, now your quarterback is not off the hook, and it just goes down because they don't put wins and losses in the wide receiver column. They put the
No,
wins and
they
losses
don't
in the head coach and the quarterback column. So Jalen
always.
Hurts takes that loss. It's
Always.
unfortunate.
Like I said, to me, whatever has happened in their relationship, because at one point I read that they were close. I believe that Jalen Hurts was or currently is still the godfather to his kids. I'm not sure if that's still a thing or how
Oh, that
true it
ain't gonna.
was, but
You can't change
I'm not
that,
sure how
can you?
true it is. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's true or
Right.
not. If you and somebody don't get along anymore, I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I
that's
have a child.
football though.
If me and you not talking no more, like whatever have you, like, and we can't fix whatever we got to fix. I don't know if I should have been the godchild of my son. But hopefully, that they'll know that they'll fix it. They'll work it out. But I keep going back to the fact that he could get him the ball last season, the season before that.
Right. Right.
What the heck happened this season that all of a sudden he can't get him the ball? To me, it seems like more of a choice than the lack of ability to get him the ball.
Well, he was, especially after AJ cried out to the social media and went out to the media, he made an assertive effort to give AJ the ball. He was
Not
giving
consistently though.
there's a lot of games he giving AJ 11 targets. Now he might only catch 4 of them, but he threw it to you 11 times. He threw it to you 8 times. Yeah, you only caught 3 of them, but I mean, he put the ball in the harm's way trying to force feed AJ a lot of them games.
Hmm.
So, I didn't like that. I'm one of them people. I just win by any means necessary. I don't care how ugly it is, just win. But when you make a assertive effort to get your wide receiver the football and you throw it to him and it hits him in the hands and he's not making the plays that a superstar wide receiver is supposed to be make a top 5. Some people would argue he was a top 5 wide receiver. These are
Hmm.
plays you're supposed to make and you're not making these plays. Now I gotta look at you with the side eye. Like what's going on? This is how you now AJ Brown is no longer a top 5 wide receiver. You drop. What have you done for me lately? And the last piece of film I seen, you were pooping all over the field. So I'm disappointed in AJ. You talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, or else just don't say nothing. Devontae Smith doesn't say anything,
No, he's very quiet. Yeah,
and
at
so
least
if
at
he
least at least in the public. I don't know about the locker
right,
room.
so if he drops a pass or like we don't look at Devontae Smith because we just like he goes out there, he does his job, he doesn't complain, he's not a diva. But when you have
Hmm.
a diva wide receiver, then I need you to step up. I need you
One
to
thing
make the
I didn't
plays.
like was skipping the media. Like, dude, go ahead. You were out there posting and tweeting. Go ahead and sit down and, and,
Right.
and and answer the questions. Like, don't leave and not answer the questions. Like,
Right.
at least Jalen, they sat there. Next, everybody else sat there. They took the
Right.
heat. They answered the questions in spite of being embarrassed. I'm pretty sure not wanting to even answer those stupid questions. They still did it. You dished it out. Sit there and answer the questions and then go home. Like, like, come on. We
Exactly.
can't we can't do that. I didn't like that at all. And I like Asia. I'm like, dude, sit there and answer them questions now. You were tweeting out before. You
Right.
did have your best game, so answer the questions now about it. But
Right.
don't just leave.
That's weak.
You know,
Right.
I
That was
didn't.
weak.
I don't rock with that, AJ. But going on to the other side of things, right? Going to the Niners side of things. Um, Another injury. George Kittle out, torn Achilles, so he will not be back for quite some time. Um,
Man.
but Trent is back, so
Yeah.
obviously, um, Kyle Shanahan. I know, like, he hasn't won Super Bowl, but one thing about that man, he gonna find a way. He's gonna find a way to put you in position to win the game. They may not win it all in the Super Bowl, but he's gonna give you his best chance that he can to get you there. I will give him that. It doesn't matter, I love the fact that he's always trying something different. He had old boy Jawan back there, playing QB for for a player too. I'm like, do something different. This is the playoffs, like, stop being so predictable. You can't run the same exact play every single play. And even though they still use CMC, they didn't use him the same way the entire game.
Right.
I'm like, so I'm here for it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna use the same person, at least do something different. So you keep the defense, like, guess keep them on their toes, so to speak. Um, I don't know how far they're gonna get just because of the injuries. Now they got past the Eagles, who obviously was struggling on the offensive side of the ball pretty much the whole
Right.
season, so that's not a surprise. But as you move on to the next round, I think they're going to play the Seahawks again, and the defense is pretty good for the Seahawks. Sam and Sam Donald's a whole different conversation, Sam and Ethan, but they beat them before, I believe, a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they absolutely do have a chance to beat them again. There's a possibility.
Right.
Um, how far do you think the Niners can go? Do you think they can
Well,
get to Super Bowl?
if I gotta go based off the last game, then it's not gonna be far. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed by the way
Mhm.
they beat the Eagles. I really feel like the Eagles beat themselves.
Mhm.
Um, I think the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles just played so putrid in the second half that
Mhm.
the 49ers won by default. I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers. I mean, 18 for 31, two picks. Brock Purdy didn't play his best game. Shanahan wasn't in his bag like he normally is in his bag. I can't give Shanahan credit for being a genius for pulling out this game. No, you weren't a genius. It was just that the other team pooped on the field, and you
Well, you
end
still
up.
got to capitalize on his mistakes. A team can make mistakes, and you can
Yeah,
still,
but when another
not
team
not
can't
not
move
win
the
the game.
ball, if other team can't move the ball in the whole half, they can't do nothing on offense. Then, I mean, you should win. I mean, I just wasn't impressed. I just didn't think
Mhm.
like I'm always impressed with Christian McCaffrey because he's a
Mhm.
baller. He
Mhm.
is their offense. I mean, really. I mean, Jawan
Mhm.
Jennings does make plays, but for the most part, Christian McCaffrey is the offense. Definitely after they lost George Kittle, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah, very much
we'll
so.
see. We'll see what Brock Purdy and those guys can pull out in the second. Like I said, the last game I wasn't impressed. Um, I think out of all the playoffs games yesterday, I had seen somebody put this because we've been having great playoff games, but I think this
Mhm.
was the worst one of the weekend. And I know that the Chargers and the Patriots weren't even that close, and I know this
Mhm.
game tonight wasn't that close, but the stories that were told in those games were great. The story that was told in this game, I just didn't like the story. The story
Mhm.
was the Eagles have issues on offense. That
We
was
already
the
knew that
story.
though.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
to me,
but
that's
I'm
not,
saying,
that's not a story. I mean,
yeah,
we did it all season long.
that's my point. Like it wasn't a great story that came out of the game. The story that came
Mhm.
out of this game was something that we've known since week 5.
Forever. Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it wasn't nothing new. So it just this was the one playoff game of the weekend that I was like, we learned nothing new out this game. We'll see what the 49ers are made of next week when they play a
Mhm.
real opponent. when they play somebody who can move the football, who can give you more than 100 yards in the second half of a football game. So I wasn't impressed. I didn't think Brock Purdy played well. I didn't think San Francisco 49ers offense played well. If anything, I'll give their defense some credit for making the Philadelphia Eagles look like
Mhm.
trash. But when AJ Brown is dropping passes left and right, can I really give your defense that credit, or do I have to
I mean,
credit AJ Brown?
the defense was it was the coverage too as well. You know what I mean? It was a combination. Like there was players in the vicinity. There was a couple of passes where
Yeah, I mean
I forgot
players
who
in the
the player was. You
vicinity,
know what I mean?
but
But
when you talk
it
about
wasn't like
top five wide receivers, I
yeah.
mean, I think Jamar Chase comes down with those passes. I think Justin Jefferson comes down with those passes. I just think any decent wide receiver come down with those passes, and I expect AJ
I'm
Brown to come
I'm
down with
not gonna
those
say
passes too.
I'm not gonna say he's not top five based on that one performance because
Oh,
typically
you lose your spot.
that's not something that we see from him pretty much ever. Like that's not something that we see all the time. You know what I mean? For that to happen the way it did in that game, to me was just I don't know. I guess you think
No,
about I don't want to say coincidence, but
there's a
it's just
wide
to me it's just how it
right,
came back around the way it did, given that he was the one that was so vocal. But
right.
I can't remove him out of the top five based on one game because we've seen
Th-
him in bigger moments and better moments, and he always shows up.
Yeah, there's a wide receiver named Lynn Swan. If you go look at his numbers, you'll be like, man, this guy's in the Hall of Fame. But Lynn Swan is in the Hall of Fame because of what he did in the playoffs. In the playoffs, he made all the catches. He made all the big plays. His numbers in the offseason.
I don't compare every player to other players. I look at
No,
each
I'm
player
just saying. My
individually.
whole
Yeah.
point is not. I'm not comparing AJ to Lynn Swan because Lynn Swan is a Hall of Famer who made plays in the playoffs. My whole point is to say that your reputation is made in the playoffs. That's where you get paid at, baby.
We've
You got
seen
to
him
make the
in
plays.
quite a few playoffs, though. It's not like this
Yeah,
is
they
his
won. They
first
just won
run.
Super
You know
Bowl
what I mean?
last year. They just won
Exactly.
Super
So
Bowl
I'm saying
last year,
I can't
and,
like
and he
talk
played
him out
great.
of it.
But Unc say, you got to update your resume. You can't live off the past. You got to. We going to right now, and right now, the last time you put film on tape, you were dropping passes left and right. That's all. That's all I remember now. I can't
Yeah, no,
remember what you did
I
last year
can't
when we won the
definitely
Super
remember
Bowl.
that.
So now I'm expecting you to be traded, and I'm gonna see where your career goes going forward because the last piece of film you put down was you dropping the balls and playing horrible. That's what I remember now.
I can't do it with anybody. I can't erase what I've seen from you when you just won last year. When I've seen you in playoffs years before, multiple playoff games, and how you've shown up throughout the like. I can't just like pretend I didn't see any of that. But I do think that it is time for him to move on. He doesn't seem happy. I think he was honestly. I think he was happy last year, but they happened to win it all. So when you win, people don't. It's like, hey, they won it all, so it's great. But there's something going on, in the locker room. I think it's just time for
Wow.
him to move on. He don't seem
He's
happy there.
he's a diva
So
wide receiver. He's never gonna be happy. He wasn't
I
happy
mean,
in
well,
Tennessee.
first off,
I,
last
I,
year, I mean, like the
I,
focus was Saquon, and he
yeah.
didn't really complain much. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't
I saw
tweeting as
him
much.
reading the book on the sideline last year. Remember?
Aside from that, like he wasn't like tweeting as much as he did this season. What I'm
No,
saying,
he wasn't tweeting
you
though.
know.
At least he
Um,
wasn't tweeting, but he
and
wasn't
I said,
happy.
no, he wasn't happy. So I'm saying, I said that as well. Like I think at this point, it's time like to move
Right.
on. Like and go someplace else where, he could be more of a focal point. Like I said, Buffalo, Buffalo,
I
Buffalo.
don't know if
You
he's
know,
ever gonna be happy because, like I
yeah.
said, everywhere he's been unhappy. They got him out of Tennessee because he was unhappy. They traded for him and got him in Philly, paid him,
Mm,
and he's still unhappy. And now you can put him wherever you want to play. You can put him in Buffalo, you put him in New England, wherever you want to put him. He's not. He's gonna be unhappy. That's just a diva wide receiver. They're just never happy unless they catch 100 balls. He cares more about his numbers than he cares about winning. I don't need that guy on my on any team that I pull for. Like, yeah, just let him go. Good riddance. Go somewhere else. Hopefully, they can get you 100 balls and you can lose and you can be happy with your 100 balls
well,
and demand a
mm,
contract because you're gonna go to your agent and say, look, I caught 100 balls. Like, okay, if that's what you want, I get it. Go get your money. Every
mm,
player don't play for championships. Some players play for
that's true.
family security. I ain't knocking
Yeah,
it,
that's
but
true.
um I just think the Philly need to move on. I paid this guy, he's still unhappy.
I do think they should move on, and I think at this point it's run its course for both, and I understand because wide receivers, running backs, so on. It's like like their pay, their accolades, it's predicated on them getting the ball.
Right,
Like when you look back at it, it's not gonna be like, oh well, AJ Brown, he only had not 565 yards for the season, because Jalen Hurts didn't do what he had to do. It's gonna go by that. Your production is this.
right,
So you're like, hey, I want my agent to ask for this amount of money. They're like, well, looking at this, this, that, and the third, you only had this, your numbers are this. And it's like, well, I didn't get the ball not because I wasn't healthy, not because I wasn't open, not because any of those things
right.
that I did personally. It's because of the offense and because of what the quarterback was doing. So I understand the frustration because he already got the ring now. So now you're
Exactly.
playing for. It seems like you're playing for legacy, right? Like
Right.
you want to be in the Hall of Fame potentially. Like, and I understand that. So if that's something that he wants, and obviously they can't, they don't want to do that in Philly. You got your ring, move on and go someplace else. You know
Right.
what I mean? There's plenty of Cam Ward could use him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well,
there's
he
places
was
that could
already
use
in
him.
Tennessee, so I doubt he go back
Well, I'm saying,
there.
well, yeah, I mean, with Cam, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, go someplace like that where you obviously can be more of a focal point. Now on the other hand, it's gonna take a while for you to get back to Super Bowl. So you
Right.
got to be careful because Tyreek, he was like, I want to get paid, I want to get paid. And, he went to Miami, and then now he's like, oh man, I want to win.
Exactly.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here, dog. This is not gonna work for me. Then, it is what it is. So just be smart and do what you got to do. What's best for you. But I don't think he's as selfish as it comes across. There's times in the game where I see him out there blocking, you know what I mean? To make sure somebody else gets to the end zone, and not all wide receivers do that. Some just stand there.
Right.
Like
Like
they do not
DK.
help out
Like
and do
DK
anything
didn't want to
different,
block tonight. It was terrible.
so so yeah. Um but we gonna see what happens. But I do expect that Kevin's gonna go, like you said, and I do believe AJ's gonna go, unless they come to some kind of, I don't know, kumbaya or something in the off season. I don't know. I don't see it happening though. I think this is fun its course. Really quickly before we move on, AJ Brown's a great player, but be acting, be mad. Ayuk too. I don't know what happened to Ayuk. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm not gonna bring him up. Hopefully he's okay, I guess. All right, y'all. We're gonna go on to the game before that. We gonna go on to the game before that because my Bills won. My Bills won. My Bills won. And damn it, it wasn't pretty, but we got the win. Go ahead and play that blow that horn again. Go ahead. What you just did. Yes, yes, yes. Whoo, you guys, my anxiety was at an all-time high. If y'all were hearing me on live watching this game, I was like, come on, do your job. Do your job, do your job, do your job. It was a complete team win. Now, it wasn't the prettiest win, but damn, it's the playoffs. Everything's not gonna be pretty. So I'm just gonna focus and take the win. Starting, I'm gonna go to the Jaguar side of it though. Um, y'all was if y'all were in this chat and y'all were coming at me on my channel, all right, in my comments, my videos about Josh, and y'all were like, oh, Jacksonville, they got Trevor, is he's the one and he's this, he's that. That's all I gotta say about that. Okay, nothing back in Jacksonville, and that's that. What do you think about the game, though?
I thought it was a pretty good game. I thought it was compelling. It came down to the last drive or whatnot.
It definitely did.
Um,
Interception.
Jackson, the kicker, they had one of the most accurate kickers in the league this year, and he missed
You missed
field
the kick
goals.
to it. Yeah.
Maybe it was nerves being in that position for the first time, and the kick, the one didn't go how it was. Trevor Lawrence didn't play his best game. I mean, actually, he didn't look good at all. I mean,
I was
two
not
picks,
crying.
and that last pick was, cost them the game. I mean, it was just an awful performance by
Hmm.
Trevor Lawrence. So, and lack of experience.
I think
Um,
he felt the pressure too.
yeah, he definitely. That's what I'm saying. Lack of experience. He hasn't really been in those moments,
Hmm.
and sometimes when you haven't been in those moments, it
Hmm.
can weigh on you. It can weigh on you. Um, like I said before the playoffs started, it's Josh Allen's Super Bowl to win. You know, he has to do it. He's the big dog. You're the best quarterback in the whole playoffs right now. You won the MVP last year. Most MVPs. This is why Lamar Jackson get criticism because he's yet to reach a Super Bowl. Most
Hmm.
MVPs at some point at least get to the Super Bowl. There is hell. I think Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are the only two quarterback who won MVP and didn't reach the Super Bowl. So the criticism is gonna be there if you don't make it all the way to the big game. So yeah, the pressure is on. We got Buffalo got to run the table. That's just how it goes. And if not,
This, go
he
ahead.
got to face the heat.
The thing I don't like, and I said this about every team, every QB, not just with Josh because he's my fave. If you know, you know. Um, this is very much a team sport. I think
Mm-hmm.
it is absolutely absurd to act as if it's just all on the onus on one person. The coach is
Right,
the coach. I give you the plays, but you got to execute as a player. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to
right.
give you a play and go out there and do it myself. You know what I mean? You got the DC got a job. You know what I mean? You got to call the plays. OC,
Mm-hmm.
you got a job. You got to call the plays. Kicker got to kick, make the freaking field goals. You know what I mean? Wide receivers, you got to catch. You know, interceptions are coming your way. They had 3 interceptions they could have had yesterday.
Yeah,
Buffalo's defense that they did not capitalize on. You know, and honestly speaking, if they make that he makes that kick, we're talking about a tie game. Potentially, maybe they could have won the game. If I'm being all the
right,
way honest, you know what I mean? Because you never know how those things affect the outcome of games. Obviously, you know. So then Gabe Davis is out. You know, he's towards ACL, so you know he's gonna be gone. He's not coming back anytime soon. I'm sure he's coming back at all. Honestly speaking, he's a little bit older too. So we're gonna see
right.
what happens with that. Prayers and blessings to him, but everybody keeps saying on one hand, not, and I'm not talking about you, people like, but Josh has to get it done. But on the
Yeah,
opposite hand, it's like, well, but Josh's team is not that good. you
yeah,
like
yeah,
this
yeah.
team is better, that team is better. I'm like, so right now we're playing very much team football. I mean, we see teams like the Texans, they're winning not
Right,
because of their QB, but because of how great that defense is. You know what I mean? So
right,
this Josh can cover up everything. You know what I mean? That he can't do. Like yesterday, I mean, he put himself in harm's way trying to get that first touchdown, which he did. And that was like they didn't get to the end zone until almost halftime. And he put himself in
correct.
harm's way trying to run that in. I was like, it took a lot out of him because he was on the ground like, who? I was like, my guy is going through it. You know, you could tell he's not 100%. I think he's more banged up now than what he was coming into the game. You know, like how helmet came off was getting no concussion. You know, protocol really quickly. Good thing he wasn't. You know, he already dealt with the foot, and then he hit his, hit his hand. You know, when he threw the ball, and he was holding his wrist, and he was holding his
Yeah,
knee. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like what, like he can't take too many more injuries before he's actually going to be carted off the field. You know, knock on wood. Um, it's going to be a complete team effort. The defense towards the last part, the end of the season has been like in top 5 defense. You know what I mean in that category, but they're inconsistent. You know, like there are some moments they step up and it's like yes, here we go, and some moments you're like, what, are we awake? Like what's going on, y'all? I will say because he doesn't really have like a bona fide number one. I mean, you would say James Cook if you had to pick one. Or Shakir, you know what I mean? Like he likes to go those
right.
2 targets, but in the game yesterday, he spread the ball out. I think 8 different receivers got the ball, so he was just
Mm-hmm.
throwing whoever was open, But when Josh is not running or he's not unable to run, James Cook, Sean McDermott was frustrating to me because he was doing the same thing pretty much the whole game. Every single time they take the field, I'm like, here we go. James Cook is going to run on the first one, on the second one. Josh is going to throw on the third one if he can, or he's going to run it. No, he can't. James Cook again. Okay, now back off the field. You can't
Yeah,
do that, expect to win it all throughout every single game with every team. Like there got to be some differences here now, man. If I can see it at home on my screen, I'm not even playing the game. They can see it too when they watch the film.
yeah.
James Cook,
I
if he
think
can't get active, like, what we doing
yeah,
here? Because it can't.
but I think
This Josh can't run into the end zone throughout all with Super Bowl. It's not going to happen.
yeah, but I think James Cook led the league in rushing. So
He
you
did.
gonna right. So
He did. But
you're gonna
we're in
have
the
to get
playoffs now. That don't matter
right,
no more.
right. Yeah, you're gonna have to let him
Like he wasn't doing
test
that
the route.
yesterday. They
You
were like,
gotta let him
nope,
help
not
you.
happening.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, one thing, and I applauded. I wish they would have ran the ball more, but because you just don't run the ball to gain a whole bunch of yards. If you can gain a whole bunch of yards, that's great. But you also run the ball to control tempo and to keep the clock moving. so that you can, don't give the other team an
Mhm.
opportunity to hold the ball, and you can try to control time of possession. So there's
Mhm.
many reasons to run the
They
ball
definitely did control that. Control time possession.
outside of just getting a whole bunch of yards. But when you do have the guy who leads league in rushing, you're gonna have to give him the rock. And you spoke truth. Football is the ultimate team game. It takes a team to win the football game. It's never really on one player. The quarterback is gonna get too much credit, and he's gonna get too much blame if it
Mhm.
goes wrong. And that's the unfortunate part about it, is that unfortunately it's sports entertainment, and the media are entertainers, and sports is
Mhm.
all about storytelling. And in
Yeah.
football, the story is, did the quarterback win the game or did he not win the game?
Mhm.
It don't matter if the tight end dropped the crucial pass. It don't matter if the defense blown the coverage that allowed the other team to score. They'll talk about that as a side note. But at the end of the day, when you have a quarterback who's won the MVP, he's not going to be judged the same way C.J. Stroud is going to get judged. He's not going to get
Well, no, of
judged
course
the
not.
same
Yeah.
way that a
They're
Brock
in
Purdy.
different
He's going
places.
to
Yeah.
get judged how Peyton Manning got judged, how Tom Brady got judged, how Aaron Rodgers got judged. He's getting judged by the guys who also won MVP at his position,
He's
and
on.
that's
Yeah.
the
He's in different place. Yeah. Makes
right, and
sense.
that's the story that's going to be told, whether it's fair or not. The story is going to be Josh Allen finally came through and won the Super Bowl, and now he's
Mhm.
on this level, he's on this pedestal, headed to the Hall of Fame,
Or
or
they're gonna say he didn't get it done.
he didn't get it done and he's an MVP. What's wrong with Josh Allen? Can he do it? Is he a choke artist? Can he? They're gonna have all these different story categories about him. Same way
Mhm.
with Lamar Jackson. They do the same thing. He's won multiple MVPs. He's yet to be to a Super Bowl. And that's why his
He
head
also
coach had
doesn't
to
look the
go.
same way in playoff games either.
Right, right. So I mean, and
And
that's part
I
of
love
it
Max
too.
Jackson too.
That
Yeah.
that, that they're gonna it's gonna be forgotten that Zay Flowers fumbled the ball going into the end
Yeah.
zone. It's gonna be forgotten that Mark Andrews dropped a 2 yard pass.
They didn't forget about that now. They did not
Right,
forget about
right.
that.
Like, even though Lamar, he hasn't played his best in the playoffs, I would say that
Mhm.
he's a turnover machine in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, it's the story that's going to be told, whether it's
Yes,
true or
it's Lamar.
not. The
Yeah.
story that's going to be told is he didn't get it done.
Yeah, because it's Lamar.
So
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate part about it, and that's why the pressure, is going to be on Josh Allen, because that's the story that's going to be told. He
Mhm.
didn't get it done. They was Peyton Manning before he won his first Super Bowl. They were destroying Peyton Manning.
Mhm.
He can he's under 500 in the playoffs. He's a choke artist. He really can't do it. All this system he got, it doesn't work. Until he won the Super Bowl, and then it was like, the chip is off his shoulder. Same with Steve Young. That's just how it goes. You have to win the Super Bowl. So, by hook or by crook, Buffalo is now the favorite in the whole NFL to win it
They were
all.
always my favorite. So, nah.
Right.
If you guys just jumped to this side, glad to have you. Okay. I'm rocking with my team all the way, no matter what happened. No matter what happened, I'm rocking all the way. But we go on this year, y'all. I'm claiming it, right? I'm manifesting that and putting it out there in the universe. So that's that. We gonna leave it out there as it is. Um, all right, y'all. Last game before we move on and get up out of here. Your favorite quarterback. You know where I'm going. I'm going to Chi-Town. Going to Chi-Town. Yes, yes.
Oh, I
One
thought you was
Caleb.
going to the Rams and
No, 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 no. I'm going to Caleb. Caleb. Caleb with the big comeback. All right, nail polish and all. I, Look, all jokes aside about the nail polish, he really showed me something in terms of like mental toughness. Although Justin Herbert obviously might be taller and all these different things, when I compared it to just in terms of mental toughness, not in terms of anything, like the physical part of it. Caleb did not
right.
give up. Like he was out there like, do your freaking job. You know what I mean? I was like, that's right, Caleb. Let him know, do your job. He got out there, he took his hits, he ran when he can, and man, he makes some untimely throws. He got some real talent, you know what I mean? Some real arm talent. But I was more impressed with with his um with his what's what I'm looking for, you guys. I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. Um his composure. his
Right.
composure, his ability to stay focused, his ability to not give up, and to still keep his team. Aside obviously probably Big Ben in halftime as well. They've had quite a few comebacks like that this season. So and this team was the most impressive, obviously, because the most on the line. Given how he looked last season, although they had different coach, and a lot of the questions were, man, like should he have gone number 1 overall? Like, was there a mistake made? And a lot of questions, a lot of conversation surrounding Caleb Williams this offseason. And he has responded to the pressure. Having Big Ben there has been, I think, a tremendous help for him in developing
Yeah.
his game this season. But I was very much impressed that they stayed in it and they kept fighting back possession by possession, especially in that second half. What did you think though about the Bears and about Caleb Williams' performance?
I wasn't impressed.
You
Now
are like
I'll
that.
say this: I was impressed with the fourth quarter comeback. I was
Hmm.
like, okay,
25 points, yeah.
yeah, but I wasn't impressed because the field goal kicker for the Packers was missing field goals. If he makes the field goals, they win the game. I mean, Jordan Love performed very well. I mean, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. That should be enough to win a football game. I mean, Caleb Williams completed 50% of his passes. That's not good. He threw 2 picks. That's not good. The Packers let them
When
off
you
the
gotta
hook.
have it, do you have
Right.
it?
This
And
this this is
one
why
didn't.
and this is why I said a few weeks ago, and I was telling you, I was like, man, Michael Parsons is gonna be missed because of a
Hmm.
game like this, because he can actually Caleb Williams is good for escaping pressure in the pocket. He can get away from the
Very.
defensive
Hmm.
lineman, but he can't get away from Michael Parsons. And that's why Michael Parsons was important for a game against a quarterback of this caliber who likes to run, escape, and,
Hmm.
and, and get out of harm's way. But the Packers didn't have Michael Parsons, and that was the ultimate reason why they ended up losing this game. Michael Parsons could have made a difference in this game, but him being absent, the field goal kicker missed some kicks, and Caleb Williams playing very well in the second half of the football game,
Hmm.
and the Bears win at home. And so it was a huge win. It was a huge win for the Chicago faithful. I'm kind of feel good for them because it's been a long time since
Hmm.
they've been had anything to cheer about. And so for 1 week, they have something to cheer about. That's good for them. But I just really wasn't impressed. Based on the Packers, I think the Packers let them off the hook. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
that the Bears just went in there and whipped the Packers like, spanked them. I think the Packers just made too many mistakes, and the
It
mistakes
wasn't
ended up
about.
costing
It
them at
wasn't
the
no.
end of the
It wasn't
game.
about to have like the Texans kind of
Right,
situation.
right,
It
right. It wasn't
wasn't
that type
that.
of situation.
And it's
But like
not
you said,
always
when you're
the.
down, 21-3, and you still come out there and you understand I got a whole half to play, and you
Hmm.
come out there and you still firing. I mean, the Bears defense is to be commended. I mean, you gave up 6 points in the second half. I mean, that's outstanding. You
Hmm.
gave your quarterback an opportunity to redeem himself and come
And
back
he
and help
did.
you win. So I applaud the Chicago Bears for the win, the defense for stepping up, and for Caleb Williams. Like I said, he made some big time throws in that game. I give him credit. He
Hmm.
made some big time throws in that game. Um, but I just don't see this being sustainable. It seems like a lot of times, I mean, their defense is really good. They led the league in turnovers, and their
Not
defense
so much
has
lately.
their defense have put them in the position that they're in today.
Hmm.
And I just don't think it's sustainable for a quarterback to play the way Caleb has been playing, not putting
Hmm.
together a full game and continuing to win, not in the playoffs. So I don't expect them to have a much further run. I mean, this weekend it could be over with for the Bears.
Look, I mean, they barely beat the Panthers team, so I can't say something. I'm like 100% like the Rams can't lose that game. The way they played, it's a possibility. They can go home. So anybody can go home, really, truthfully
Yeah.
speaking. I mean,
Sometimes
but
teams have your number
yeah,
though, because the
but
the
I didn't.
Panthers just play the Rams good, for whatever
But
reason.
but I didn't. I wasn't like I said in terms of the Rams. Like they escaped with that win, but they
Right.
did get it and move on to the
They
next round.
did.
But back to Caleb though, it's one thing for a team to turn the ball over, for the other QB to make mistakes. You know, you still got ultimately he still has to. The ball's in his hand.
Right.
What are you doing with it? Are you putting your team in the position to win? And that he did. You know, so I got to give him credit for that because we saw tonight. Like I mean, CJ turned the ball over and they got nothing from it on the, on the offensive side in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I mean, not even the field goal. You know, so we give you opportunities, interception. Okay, we got you back on the field. Now, what you gonna do? You gonna get us down the field into the end zone, field goal position? What we doing here? And he did that. You know, so I got to give him credit for that. But just switching over to the Packer side of things, I was honestly surprised when I heard Adam Schefter say that Matt LaFleur was meeting with management, ownership, excuse me, to
With
sign a contract
management,
extension.
Packers don't have an owner.
Um, say it again.
It's management. Packers don't have an
Mhm.
owner.
Okay. Um, I I understand not firing him because he is a good head coach. And you want to see what happens when Michael Parsons is back next year. All those different things. I understand. Um, extension right now, no. I'm not extending you right now. The way they ended the season, they blew big leads. You know what I mean? Like I kept saying, I think I was texting you. I'm like, you gotta close this game out. You gotta close this game out. Even Micah had, he had tweeted from the freaking skybox like, this team likes to play 4 quarters. Like we gotta close them out. And I feel like they got complacent like they did before because the debate before the same exact way. You know, like when you have a lead, like all you gotta do is like manage the clock, get another field goal, a touchdown, and I mean you can still extend it and still win this game. They
Yeah.
got very complacent to me, and I'm just like, and if for the head coach, I'm like Matt, like you see what's happening. You know, you went from 21-3 to 21-10, and then and now it's going to 17. Like hello, like this game is getting closer and closer and closer, and there's still plenty of time left on this clock. What are we doing here? Like what's happening? You know, I mean, they went punt, 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 like just back to back to back to back to back. I'm like, let's go three now, three now, three now, three now. I'm like, what happened? You know what I mean? I don't know. That happened a few times this season. And then you think about how they lost last season. I'm just like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not. I wouldn't fire him just yet, but the jury's gonna be out until next season before I give him another extension. What do you think though about Matt LaFleur and I guess how far he can take this team?
Well, hell, ain't his fault. He don't kick field goals.
But it
I
wasn't just the
mean,
field goals though.
I mean, you get the field goals, they win. You add those 6 points and the extra point, they win by what's that? They win by 4 points. Like I gotta have those points. Those are big because
25
I'm
points in
trying.
the fourth quarter is crazy.
I feel you. Yeah, but when you when
I
your
can't
kicker
put that
miss,
all in the kicker.
I'm saying when your kicker misses a kick, they're like a turnover. That means we take points off the board and we get them pretty good field position. And now they have we got to put our defense back on the field, and now they get to go score. Like I need you to put points on the board when I put you in position to put points on the board. That's just part of the game. I mean, it's unfortunate. And then the Michael Parsons injury. I mean, that had nothing to do with him. He was a huge loss. They needed Michael Parsons for a game. That's why you trade the
So,
capital that you
wait.
traded.
So, I'll make sure I hear you correctly. So, we saying that Matt LaFleur, or you're saying that he has no part in what happened at all because it happened a few times this season.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna lose football games, but I'm saying they're not losing football games because he's mismanaging the game. They're losing
So,
football
what do you
games
call
because the
what he did?
players
Yes,
gotta.
what he did. 25 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the
What are you
players
doing?
have. The players. He's not playing. The players have to execute, and the players are not executing. When you don't execute, I gotta put that on the players. I
And you
mean,
don't
when
think how he used the clock at all had anything to do with it? Like he couldn't have done anything differently. You're saying? Are we serious?
I don't think he could do anything different.
Wow.
I think the
You
quarterback.
as a head coach, if I'm a coach, I'll be glad to have you as an owner because I mean I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to have
yeah,
no kind of
yeah.
responsibility.
I'll
I
be
can just keep
loyal.
getting
I'm not.
paid and not win nothing.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys that is a fan of getting rid of good coaches because I've seen too many good coaches get let go, and then you try to replace him, and then it takes you 10, 15 years to get another good coach. And now I got 10, 15 years of losing football games. And it just don't make no sense. If I can get to the playoffs, I have a chance. And I need to have a chance. So Matt LaFleur gives me a chance. Now, if I If I can go out there and replace Matt LaFleur, like if I already know I can get John Harbaugh to come in and take that job, then I might consider getting rid of Matt LaFleur because I can
Yeah, I
find a
wouldn't
guy
fire him though. I
that's
wouldn't
better.
fire
But
him.
if I can't
But
find a guy that's better than Matt LaFleur right now who's gonna come in and take over this team and take us to the next level, then I'm gonna stick with Matt LaFleur till that guy becomes available. Um, like I said, I can agree with you on maybe not giving a huge extension at this point. You can't have him on a lame duck contract. That's one thing you can't do. So you at least gonna have to give him an extra year if he's on his last year.
I mean, the
But
Bears beat them twice like this. Twice.
yeah, that's the biggest issue right there.
Like
You
how's
lost
how's
the
it happens
you
once
lost
and it
you've
happens
been
again?
owning the Bears. The Green Bay Packers have owned the Bears for the last 15 years. And now all of a sudden you've lost 2 games to the Bears. That's like Ohio State losing to Michigan. Like I don't give a damn how good your head coach is. You can get fired because of that. Like this is the kind of rivalry where I need you to beat the Bears, and you lost to the Bears in the playoff game. That's why he had to go have a meeting with the with the uh with the front office. Like we got to talk to you about this. We can't have this. Now we're gonna keep you in place, but when you talk about extending the long-term deal, we got to make sure you correct this Bears problem that we got because we can't have you losing to the Bears. That's our division foe. That's our rivalry. We had a rivalry with this team for 50 years. You can't lose to the Bears. Now, at the same time, they're gonna talk
Who
to
they
them.
lose to last year? Remind me.
I remember who they lost to last year. Right off top. It wasn't Philly though. It might have been the Rams. But my whole point is the players also got to have accountability. I'm not gonna put it all on the coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying it's all. I'm not saying it's all on
The
him.
players
I'm not.
got to
I'm not saying
execute.
that at all.
And when the Packers traded for Michael Parsons, they traded all those first round picks and they traded another Pro Bowl player to Dallas. You bring him in for moments like this. It's just unfortunate that they lost Michael Parsons before the playoffs could start so that he can have the impact. The reason why people were picking the Green Bay Packers when they traded and got Michael Parsons, people had slided, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you lose that piece, that's a huge piece to lose. It changes everything. Now they still had a good enough team. They still could have beat the Bears, but when we come to the playoffs, everything has to go right because a lot of things can go wrong.
Luck,
And when it
health,
goes wrong, it
matchups.
goes all the way wrong. So it's unfortunate that they lost. You lose. The playoffs
It's
in
how
the
they
NFL
lost.
is right. The
It's how
playoffs
they
in the
lost.
NFL is not the best 2 out of 3 or best 4 out of 7. It's not the NBA. It's one game for your life.
Exactly.
And when that's the
And
case,
when you lose again, the same way you lost previously, the same team, and you had to lead
right,
once again, and then you lose it in the second half again, like,
well, the
like
way the
the
NFL is
alarm has
designed,
to go off. Okay, y'all, this
right.
is it. Like we don't have another week now. Like we're
Well,
not coming back next week. Like
the
we
NFL is
don't.
right.
We're gonna do something different. Everybody's going home now. Look, come on.
The
And
NFL is designed to where
it was too complacent for me, and there was just cruise
but
control. Like okay,
I got
we win, when we don't, we don't. It
well
was
the
like
NFL is
it is
designed
like
where no lead is safe.
like care. Well, it was
No lead is
meaningful. Like, I see a sense of
right.
urgency in the second half.
Right. No lead is safe in the NFL. Just like, these sports, they make it to where you gotta play the whole game to win.
And that's when
it's
I'm
not
holding him and everybody else
right.
accountable.
Right.
Like
But
absolutely.
you definitely hold them accountable, but also I gotta hold the kicker accountable for missing kicks.
Yeah, I said
I
yeah.
gotta
I said
hold the
him and the
defense.
team.
I gotta hold the defense accountable for letting Caleb Williams run roughshod for you in the second half. LaFleur is an offensive guy. Right. LaFleur is an offensive guy.
What happens
I need
that you come out strong in the first half and then the second half you just I don't know, kick your feet up, so to speak. Like you still got plenty of time left in this game.
Yeah.
They didn't have any sense of urgency in that second half. They didn't show urgency until like it was like, okay, who's gonna win this game? Like the last 5 minutes. Then they were like, okay, let's go. Then everybody's like, let's go. Before that, it was like cruise control.
Well, maybe Chicago didn't show any sense of urgency in the first half, and in the second half, they decided to show some sense of urgency. Like it's football. At the end of the day, they left points out on the field.
That's an excuse. Like that's not just football. There's 2 halves in the game, And
Yeah,
when
those
you
are the
have
two
a
halves in the
lead and
game.
you see your lead is leaving you,
Yeah.
hello,
So
what we
what I'm gonna
doing?
do is
Like,
I got a lead. I'm gonna line up to kick this field goal to add points to the lead, and then the field goal kicker missed the field goal. That's a turnover. That's a
but he missed
turnover
it.
on
How many
downs.
times did he miss
Right.
it?
You
How
missed
many
two
times did he
field
miss it?
goals and an extra point. That's
Exactly.
seven.
So
That's 7 points. They lost
after
by
he missed the
4.
first one, and he also missed in previous games. So at
Right.
this point, I'm not dependent on you because you've been a little shaky this year.
So what I'm gonna do? The
So
kicker is a point. You just
we
told
need to
me
focus
that
on
this is a
getting
team.
stops.
You just told me this is a team game.
You
It,
didn't trade your kicker though, so you stuck with him, is what I'm
you
saying.
can't trade the
You
kicker because you got one. Because
you didn't get anybody else. You
no,
stuck
because
with
you
him.
got first of all, you got one of the better kickers in the league. Second of all, if you got to go get a kick off the street, that kick off the street is on the street for a reason. He's not better than any other kicker in the NFL. So you
My
can't
point is
at this
that
stage
if
of the
your
game, you
kicker
can't
is
go
on
on
the
the street and
struggle
bring a kicker
bus,
in.
if my kicker is on the struggle bus and I see the past few games, I don't know what's happening with you.
Yeah,
Usually you kick it, you make the kick, but right now you're not. So I don't know what's
right.
going on.
It's off.
The
It's an
winds,
off
the
season
winds
move.
can affect it, all those different things, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to. I'm not going to just say, okay, let me just kick the field goal. You know what I mean? I'm going to try my best to get into the end zone because
Right.
right
That's what
now
you
the
want to
kick
do.
is not really kicking.
Well,
You
that's
know,
on the
so
quarterback. I
you know what
agree.
I mean.
I
So
hate when they put all the pressure on the kicker. You don't pay the kicker enough to put all the pressure on the kicker. Why don't you get those guys who are making 20, $30 million to put the ball in the end zone? Let's not put all the blame on the kicker when the kicker doesn't perform well. Or let's pay the kicker more money. Let's pay the kicker 20, $30 million because the kicker scores more points than everybody on the team. And when it comes down to the last second of the
mhm.
game or something, you always put the kicker out there to win you
Yep,
the game instead of putting your quarterback who making $50 million and putting the onus on him to score a touchdown. Let's do that. I agree with that all day. But the
I'm fine with
quarterback,
that. I'm fine
but
with that.
but the quarterback
We
didn't put
paying you
the
50 plus
ball in
million.
it.
The ball's in your hand. What we doing? Let's go.
Right. Put the ball in the end zone. Every time you got a running back that you paying good money, $10+ million. Put the ball in the end zone.
I'm with
I
that.
agree with that.
That's the first option.
But football, like you said, it's the ultimate team game. And sometimes you got to trot your kicker out there, and
Of course.
he has to make a field goal, and that's his job is to make the field goal. And you hope that he make the field goal, and then if he doesn't make the field goal, you don't want to put all the blame on him, but you got to say he missed the field
No,
goal.
I'm not putting it all on him. Like I said, I'm putting the
Right.
majority of it on the coach because it's happened to you before. You had
Yeah,
me
yeah,
before with
it's gonna
the
keep
same
happening
exact team.
until there's a
The
field goal
same
kicker
exact
out there
team.
until
And then
there's a
you
field
lost
goal
it
kicker
again.
out there that kicks 100% of the time. I mean, the story gonna always be the story. It's either on the quarterback or the head coach. I mean, they're always the two easiest scapegoats. We don't want to
Hmm.
all put the blame on the guys who are not performing to the level that we expect them to perform, and it always
That's
goes
coaching to
down to the
me.
head
That's
coach
coaching to me.
and the quarterback.
When you lose a big lead like that and not one but two games to the same team, that
Right.
something's going on with the coaching there.
But
Like what's happening?
the other team pays their players big money to go out there and play well too.
Of course, everybody gets
And
paid.
that's what Chicago did. They paid those guys to go out there and play good football. And those
Well, yeah, I
guys
mean, we
went
spoke
out
about the
there.
Chicago side of things.
Right,
We talking about the Packers side of things now. Everybody
right.
spoke
But
about
they had to
Chicago.
play a team that
Yeah.
pays their players. And the other team played really well in the second half. I still should have won the game if I'm Green Bay, but my players did not
You absolutely
execute.
should have. You absolutely
Right.
should have. Yeah,
But my players
you
didn't
should have.
execute. And so,
And as a coach, he didn't either.
I gotta take some of the blame because I'm part of the team. I gotta take some of the blame. But
There
as
we go.
somebody who's
Because
observing and
I'm
watching,
like,
I
he's
also
definitely not blameless in
right.
this
I
situation.
also
Definitely
cannot sit here as somebody who watched the game. I can't sit here and act like I didn't see those field goals get missed. And
Well, yeah, we
and I
saw
can't
that. Yeah,
right, and I can't
that's
act
a
like
part
if
of
they
it.
had those 7 points when I do the math, if I add the
But
7 points.
he also mismanaged the time clock as well. There's things that he could have done differently that they could have still got the outcome of the game in their favor.
Okay, okay. Well, I didn't think he mismatched the time, but I mean, maybe he did.
Well, hopefully next season they'll lose the game the same way again. We'll see.
Well,
But right
well,
now they're at home. Right now
they're
they're at
gonna
home, so it doesn't really
now
matter.
right now it's the off season. You can evaluate your roster, and now You try to see if you need to go draft a kicker, if you need to go pull the kicker from another team that you might. The kicker is probably gonna be gone because usually that's what happens when kickers miss kicks in big playoff games. They end up being on another team the next year.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what
I'm just
happens.
pulling
I
this
mean,
up real
so
quick.
they may have another kicker at the beginning of the next season. I have no doubt about it.
All right. So I'm gonna pull this up really quickly. Let's do these predictions before we get up out of here. Come on. All right, here we go. Gotta
Okay.
pull this up. I'm trying to pull it out, but it's not. Let me fix this real quick.
I think this is the year of the defense.
Hmm.
Because when I look at the quarterbacks that are in the playoffs, you got a lot of new faces, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of young quarterbacks, a lot of unproven quarterbacks, and and you got some really. I mean, when you go to the Denver Broncos, you go to the Houston Texans, you go to the Chicago Bears, you got some really good defenses out here, and so I think this might be the year of the defense.
All right, here we go. Really quickly, we're gonna go down this, do your predictions. You ain't gotta explain why. Just make your prediction, and we're gonna see where we land next week. So starting with the Broncos and the Bills, I believe they play on Saturday. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Bills.
What? You're gonna say Broncos? Okay,
I gotta go with Josh. He the big dog.
okay, okay. Well, I can't stand Sean Payton. So even if the Bills weren't playing him, whoever was playing the Broncos, I'd be like, I hope they win because I cannot stand Sean Payton. But obviously they play my Bills, so I'm rocking with the Bills. Y'all know how I feel about that. Going to Patriots versus Texans. Who you got?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I'm
Man,
gonna go Patriots. I trust Drake May more
that's gonna be the
than
best
CJ
game of the
Stroud.
week. That's gonna be the best game of the week. That defense is really good. Man, I hate to pick Mike Vrabel over D'Amico, but I think I'm gonna take the Patriots too.
Okay, so right now we 2 for 2. Okay, we in a line. We align right now. Okay, maybe for different reasons, but okay. All right, so going to the other side. Other side. Who we got? Are we going Seahawks or Bang Bang Niner Gang? Who you got?
Seahawks and who?
And the Niners.
Oh, I'm going to Seahawks.
And
I
Kyle
hate that
Shanahan we
too.
trust.
I know.
Uh,
I kind of do want to take the 49ers, but because Sam
ooh,
Darnold, I don't. But the Seahawks have been playing really well on both sides of the ball this year, so I'm gonna
Sam is
stick
the
with the
one that you like.
Seahawks.
I'm like Sammy Ethan. What we
Right,
doing? Like how we gonna come? Because the defense will keep them in the game. They'll keep them in the game
right.
now.
49ers
And they
definitely
beat them,
had a better quarterback.
and they beat them recently. So trying to beat them
Right,
twice, I don't know. And that could have actually gone the other way too. So that
but
they
that
turned probably
defense is really
they turned
good.
over twice in that game, right? They turned over twice in
Yeah,
when they played them last time.
yeah.
So yeah,
Jackson and
but
Jigba is really good.
he is very good.
Right.
He's very, very good. But so is Christian McCaffrey, man. But they they,
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
they
He
took
was
him
better.
out last time. Like he was not even a factor in that game last time.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
expect Kyle Shanahan to do something different to make sure that he gets the ball and he does what he needs to do.
yeah.
Oh man,
Mike
I can't.
McDonald is a good play caller too. He's been great all year.
Jury's out on that one, man. I don't know who to choose.
Yeah, that's a tough game to choose. It's a tough
It
game.
is.
I'm just gonna pick the Seahawks just because they got a better overall football team, in my opinion.
They do also a healthier team as well.
Right.
You know.
Kittle
I'm not
being
picking.
out.
I'm not
Right.
picking that game. I'm
Kittle
not
being out
picking.
could be a huge. Come on now, you got to pick now. Don't be
Oh,
like
do
that
I
now.
have to?
Yeah, you got to pick now. We can't. We got to hold you accountable for what you're
You
doing
gonna
out
hold me
here now.
accountable? Okay, okay, okay.
Yes.
I appreciate accountability. Okay, you're not gonna let me slide? All right, all right, all
No,
right.
I can't let you
Damn
slide.
it. Damn it. Okay, I thought you let me slide. I was gonna be slick get up out of here without saying anything. Okay. Sammy Ethan. I like Sam Darnold. I still want him to win because everybody keeps doubting Sam. And Sam still
Right.
goes, I'm like, leave Sam alone, all right? Um,
Number 2 quarterback in the draft.
and Kyle Shanahan, we trust. I'm gonna go with the Niners.
That's a good pick. It ain't a bad pick.
Cause of Kyle. Cause of Kyle.
Big
Um,
Dog got here. I'm pretty sure Big Dog got here. He liked that you picked the 49ers.
of course, yeah. And then the final game, I know I have to ask you this question. I already know who you're gonna choose probably. Bears versus Rams. I know you're gonna go Rams.
Yes.
That should have been an easy one.
You know that's
I'm going Bears.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think they are feeling really confident. They've had some big comeback wins, in the playoffs, so you kind of come into it feeling like, man, if we could do that, we can do this, so I think it's a good confidence builder. It's built team
Yeah.
morale. Ben is coaching his behind off, but we know Sean McVay can coach as well.
Right.
You know, if you take Puka out the game, you got a really good chance of beating them because that's like the go-to every single time. Every single time.
And they still got
You
Devontae
know,
Adams out there, and they run the ball well with Kyron Williams, and
and he
they
dropped
got
that too
Higby.
last time. I was like, oh my god, he dropped it. I
Right, they
thought the
got
Panthers were
Higby
going.
back, and
You know,
when I really think about it, the best story for the NFL this year would probably be Buffalo and the Rams in the Super Bowl, because you have last year MVP against this year's MVP in the Super Bowl, and we can see where the chips fall. So I think that's the best story that the NFL could tell. So yeah, I think I'm gonna going here on out. I'm gonna pick Bills and Rams until one of them lose.
until the Rams lose. Don't put my Bills in that
Right.
conversation.
Right. I mean, I don't think
Like,
now if the NFL tells a story that I think is most compelling, I think it will be the Bills and the Rams. They got the best two
I mean,
quarterbacks in the playoffs.
to me, I think if I'm going story, not just like quarterback play, just going story. It's going to be the Bills, obviously given their history and getting there all those times, not winning,
Right.
Josh not doing it, his Patrick Mahomes not being there, the stage is set, Josh, for you to get it
Yeah.
done,
Yeah. It's
so
it.
there's that story, and then for me, I think the Niners, given that they have lost so many players. They've had such an up and down season, you know what I mean, in terms of health, and quarterback play and this backup and that backup from the practice squad out there. I think that story to me is more of a
Yeah.
story than than
Yeah.
um
We keep
what's
seeing the
his name?
Niners go to the Super Bowl and lose, and they're losing to the better quarterback. You losing to Pat Mahomes, then you lose to Josh Allen.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan lose to Tom Brady. I'm just tired of seeing Kyle Shanahan go to the Super Bowl
Mhm.
and lay an egg, particularly in the second half of games,
But he might
to
not
the
this time.
quarterback to the
It's always a
quarterback that we
time where
really
it
want to
changes, right?
elevate.
Say it again.
I saying he always lose to a good quarterback that
Mhm.
the league really wants to elevate. Like the story is,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter that the 49ers get there. They're just a team to get beat by a Josh Allen or a Pat Mahomes or Tom Brady. Like they're not the story. Like I'm just tired of seeing that same story. We've
Mhm.
seen that story too many times. Shanahan is a good coach, good offensive mind. But
Mhm.
I'm just tired of seeing that same old story of him getting teams to the Super Bowl so they can lose
All right,
to
y'all.
a real team.
We're gonna get up out of here. So we have our picks. We are both going Bills and Patriots, and you are going Seahawks. I'm going Bang Bang Niner Gang, and I'm going with Caleb. And you were
Yep.
rocking out with Matthew
The
Stafford.
Rams. Yeah, I'm going with Matthew Stafford now.
All right, we gonna see. We gonna see now. The Bears going ahead and take out the reigning or who we think will be the MVP. Mm. You got to put some more respect on Caleb's name now.
It depends on how he performs. If he's 50% passing and 2 turnovers, then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna have to dissect why the Rams lost.
But if he leads another comeback, we gonna see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Comebacks are great.
okay, DJ said 49ers and Rams. Okay, he's like you. And then Bills and
No,
Patriots.
he picked the 49ers and Rams. I picked Seattle and the Rams.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You did. Yep, you did. Yep. So he kind of split. Okay, he picked one and then another one. And you got Bills and Patriots. So you agree with us on that
Yep,
on the other side.
yep, yep.
We'll take it. Or an Eli Manning.
I was
All
thinking
right.
about that, DJ. When I
Mm.
said that, I was thinking about Eli Manning. Eli Manning, when he went to those Super Bowls, he was good at the fourth quarter comeback. I mean, that's just what it was. And the defense played great. And he was able to knock Tom Brady off twice and win 2 Super Bowl MVPs. So when I think about Caleb Williams, that's kind of the path he's taken. You know, fourth quarter comebacks, defense plays great, and we can win. So there's a chance. He has a chance. Like you say, you're in the playoffs, you have a chance.
You get in, you can win.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. DJ, you've been here for the whole time. I so appreciate you. Big Dog. Big Dog already put it in. He said San Fran and Buffalo Super Bowl. Who else is in here? Ricky Diehard Sports Fan, Miss Stacy. There's quite a few y'all here. I can't get to everybody. I don't want to forget nobody. But thank you all so much for tuning in yet for another one. I'm so sad. The season is gonna be over soon, man. Oh man, I'm gonna have to find something else to do with you on Monday night. Like
Yeah.
when we go to a Monday night, it's over. What
Right.
am I gonna do?
Basketball gonna be in full effect, you know.
Right? Full effect, right?
Yeah,
So then we can just focus on
it,
basketball.
it starts to get good around February trade deadline, and
Hmm.
then you can start on the road to the playoffs. So we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah, there's so
It's
much right
always
now going
something.
on. You got Unrivaled happening, and then you got football, and then you got basketball, NBA. I'm like, what game is on right now? Who's playing?
Right,
I'm like,
and you got March Madness coming up, and
oh yes, how did I forget about that? Oh man,
right.
yeah. March Madness is really good too. And then you got college football. Are you going to Indiana?
Yeah. I'm going to Indiana. I've been impressed. I've been
I'm gonna
very
rock out with
impressed by
Miami.
Indiana. Yeah, I've been impressed with Miami too. I've been impressed with both teams, but man, that Indiana team, boy, those
So that,
guys are
that,
really
that
good.
Miami defense, I don't think that Mendoza's gonna be doing what he did in the previous game. Now we gonna see though,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I think the Indiana defense is outstanding. Those guys don't give up nothing. Like I'm like, wow, they put their quarterback in position to win every game.
hmm
And as a quarterback, what more can you ask for than my defense to put me in position to succeed?
all right,
He
you
he
guys.
rarely has to go 80 yards up the field to score.
Yeah, they're gonna have to try to limit him in this game for sure. Kill him, get out there running, just throw if he wants to throw. So we're gonna see what they do. One thing about
DJ,
like
my
they're
my
very
team is
physical too.
yeah. DJ
Ooh,
say my
oh,
team
man.
is trash in the NBA. My team is trash too. Uh, DJ, they did beat the Lakers tonight though.
Who's your
DeMar
team?
DeRozan dropped 32 points,
Oh,
and
I forgot.
the
Russell. Yeah.
Kings beat the Lakers. Yeah, but yeah, they trash though. So
My
hey,
team is not trash. I'm a Warriors fan.
oh yeah, but they struggling though.
They're not trash though. We'll figure it out.
They not complete trash. They where they
We're not
been in
trash
the
at all. Thank
last
you.
few years, just trying to get in the play in and see what goes on from there. I
Steph don't
mean,
get hurt. I don't know. I don't know if Steph don't get hurt. What could have happened? My other
yeah.
team, my Tyrese Halliburton. I love him. Obviously he's hurt this season, so I'm
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm, I'm
them
rooting
folks
for Jay,
trash
I'm rooting for
too.
Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown to me should be that MVP conversation. Real talk, if he's not already.
Oh yeah, he got to be in the because people doubted the Celtics, and then the way they started, they had a
They
slow
doubted him,
start,
man. Yeah.
and they doubted him. Say, oh, he can't lead. He need Jason Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's putting 50 balls
Yep.
on you. So pause. But yeah.
All right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. See you all soon. Enjoy these next round of games, divisional round. Here we come. See you all again next Monday. Good night, you guys. OMG.